KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. It's the Connor Happer Show with Connor Happer and Josh Otson. Let's get ready to rumble.
Licensing of the phrase "let's get ready to rumble" just over the last 7+ years internationally is grossed approximately close to $400 million in retail sales.
Really?
You guys look like, what do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
On 1620, The Zone.
Good morning. Happy Friday and welcome in. It is the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer and Josh Odson with you today. No crossover, but the crossovers are, of course, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. But we are off and running on a Friday. Crab cakes and football. I watched the Wedding Crashers football scene this morning a couple times just to get me fired up.
Large family breeding.
Large family breeding. That's the takeaway every time I watch that movie. Christopher Walken is one of America's finest, and we should protect him at all costs.
One of his most Walken performances.
Absolutely. That and Joe Dirt.
Yes.
That and Joe Dirt, probably. You're talking about man all wrong. You do it again and stab me in the face with a soldering iron.
While you're talking to some people today, I'm going to whip up top 5 Walken movies.
We could do it. We could do a top 5. We should do a top 5 today.
Okay.
Josh, if we got time, because we're...
Do we?
Well, we can make some time. We can make some time for a top 5. I missed the top 5 already.
In 48 hours.
I miss it.
I tweeted top 5 turtles this morning.
You did. That was great. Everyone,
bonus content.
Everyone really enjoyed that. Yeah. So if you do miss the top 5, you can just head to @producer_Josh on Twitter, and he'll be just randomly tweeting out top 5s of things. We could do a top 5, but if you get one, let me know. And if not, we could just, roll on with our Friday show, which we are here. Bryan Munson will join us at 11 o'clock. We'll get a recruiting update. Of course, there's the high school football semifinals here in the state of Nebraska. Brian Christopherson of Husker 24/7 will give us a game preview at 11:30. And Stephen M. Sipple of HuskerOnline.com will join us at 12:30. None of our fine guests this morning/afternoon are in transit. So I guess we just have to hope that the cell grid in Texas is all good. And that gets us there.
What do we think Sip's doing at his house today?
He could. Who knows?
Could be anything.
Could be anything. Probably waiting for a plumber to come by or eating. I'm eating a sandwich. App. So that is the lineup powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. All eyes on Michigan and Penn State this weekend, and all eyes on what may happen in the next few hours if Michigan's punishments from the Big Ten Conference come down. Friday news dump. This had Friday news dump written all over it from the very start, and here we are. It's Friday. Michigan's going to play their, one of their biggest games of the year on the road at Penn State, and that. We got Tom Mars involved now, the lawyer Tom Mars. Remember Tom Mars?
Oh,
yeah. Whenever there's a sketchy lawyer that needs to be involved, it's Tom Mars. And the quote that all the scribes got this morning, all the national scribes got this morning was, "Hey, I know that they're waiting on this punishment, but guess what? Jim Harbaugh's going to be on that plane one way or another." And I immediately thought to myself, one way or another, interesting. Why are you so dramatic? Why are we being so dramatic about this? You know what he's going to do? He's going to get on the plane. And if he's suspended, then he won't be able to coach in the game. But guess what? He'll still be on the plane. He's still going to be, it's not like he's going to be hanging off the wing. It's going to be very normal.
Although if you had to make me select a Big Ten football coach that was most likely to hang off the wing of a plane, it would very easily be Jim Harbaugh.
Okay, impromptu top 5 Big Ten coaches most likely to hang off the wing of a plane in order to get somewhere. Pete J, he's got to be pretty high.
Yeah.
Where would Matt Rule rank in that category? He
might be a candidate. I'm going to be honest.
He wants it.
Yeah.
He wants to be there. Kirk Ferentz would probably just pack it in and be like, "No, thank you.
No, thank you."
I know. I'm too old for this.
Yeah.
We've been doing it a certain way. I've been getting in the plane for years and years and years. Why would I go on the wing of the plane now? That's what he would say to that. All right.
What about Tom Allen?
Tom Allen, definitely a wing of the plane guy.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mhm.
He'd be hanging off that thing. Ryan Day, also.
Greg Schiano,
Greg Schiano, yes.
sneaky crazy.
Yep. Some characters in the Big Ten. So we wait patiently for that update. We'll talk about it here in just a couple minutes. And aside from the sideshow of Michigan football, it's a huge game. I think all eyes are kind of on Penn State. Penn State needs one of these really, really bad. And it's, I don't know about you, Josh. We talked about it briefly before the show. We're going to pick it later on. But I got this feeling that Penn State's going to get knocked around a little bit tomorrow.
We've seen this Penn State game quite literally 1,000 times over the last 10 years. Michigan by 30.
Michigan by 30. Okay, that seems a little
Seems a little high.
You could buy it up to like 13.5 on the FanDuel Sportsbook right now at plus
It's not very
220.
big. Plus 220. Okay.
Plus 220. I mean, that'll get you there.
2 touchdowns plus 220. I'm happy with that. Okay.
That'll get you somewhere. I will pick the game a little bit later, but I think you have a feeling on which way we are both leaning on that one at this point. We are watching out for some bowl eligibles this weekend. Nebraska is playing in a bowl eligible. We're watching very closely all the 5-win teams of the final 3 weeks of the season.
Checking boxes.
Checking boxes. Nebraska doesn't want to be left at the doorstep of 5 wins, especially when they got their 5th win in the final week of October. So you don't want to be hanging on that edge too long. And Nebraska currently sits there. Maryland currently sits there. I know the big thing, and we can jump into this right away. The big thing this morning has been people, pointing out Maryland and how they do in November, right? Maryland, usually their season has one script to it. We're going to start 5-1. We're going to start 6-0. We're going to start 5-0. And then we're going to completely fall off a cliff because it is in that second half of the season where the schedule gets a lot tougher. And here comes Ohio State, and here comes Penn State, and here comes Michigan. And it usually falls off. So I did the math. Since 2014, Maryland, since they joined the Big Ten Conference, and then, of course, the conferences split east-west following Maryland and Rutgers joining the league. Maryland, 7-28 in the month of November since 2014. They are winning 20% of their November games since 2014. That is not good. Their record in any other month that isn't November is 43-36. They're winning 54% of their games in any other month of the year. And they are winning 20% of their games in November. And then I think it was Travis, who wondered, okay, so that's a thing. What about Nebraska? And I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you wondered that because, it's not like Nebraska is much better. People forget Nebraska hasn't won that many games since 2014. But they did have 2014.
Relative term.
Nebraska in the month of November since 2014, 11-24. That's 4 more wins and 4 less losses, Josh. Nebraska's winning a whopping 31% of its games in the month of November since 2014.
Juggernaut.
And their record in any month that isn't November over that period of time since the start of the 2014 season, 41-40. They're winning about 51% of their games.
Playing winning football, Connor. That's right.
In November. So is Maryland, by the way. So this is a war of attrition.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's a war of attrition on Saturday. And by the way, just month by month and year by year, so Nebraska has won 11 football games in the month of November since 2014, and 6 of those wins came either in 2014, 2015, or 2016. So more than half of them came 7 years ago or more. Nebraska has won a grand total of 5 November football games since the end of the 2016 season. Football!
What a weird game.
Crab cakes and football. That's what Maryland does. And like I said, we watch the Sack Lodge football scene before the show just to get us all excited. For
Get in
today.
here, Todd.
Is that going to make you love me? What a movie. We don't talk about that enough. I'd like to just play clips from Wedding Crashers one day if we get the opportunity.
Specifically the parts that have aged well, which is a smaller percentage of the movie.
Oh, even the parts that haven't aged well. It'll transport you back. What year did Wedding Crashers come out?
I'm going to guess 04, maybe 06.
Okay.
I split the difference. It was 05.
05. 2005. Yeah, life was different in 2005, Josh.
Yep.
There's no doubt about that. But every once in a while, I like to be transported back to 2005.
I'll find you.
Bill Callahan was Nebraska's football coach. Remember those times? Those times were great. All right. Elsewhere on the show today, outside of our esteemed guests, of course, in the 1 o'clock hour, we'll have our keys and P's, our keys to the game, and our picks for the weekend. As I said, we're watching out for these bowl eligibles. We will check in on Nebraska basketball, who took care of business against Florida A&M last night behind ranked Mass 20-16. A brief check in on the football game last night between my beloved Carolina Panthers and the Chicago Bears. We'll go a little bit deeper on Penn State and how big it is for the Nittany Lions. We'll check in from Matt Rule yesterday. And I have an opportunity to get triggered again. He was asked about Billy Kemp and his potential role. And some more deep dives on the football game as we go on throughout the show. Giant Head Jed writes in on the JTech Instruction Zone Twitter feed on the Maryland stats here. So as I mentioned, Maryland is 7-28 in the month of November since 2014. Jed writes, and I can't, I trust Jed. That's a weird sentence to say, but I trust Jed. 5 out of the 7 November wins for Maryland have been against Rutgers.
Whoa.
So if you say Maryland's record in the month of November since 2014 against teams that aren't named Rutgers, they have 2 wins.
That's insane.
They have 2 wins.
The caller just called in and wanted us to know those November stats broken down by coach.
Oh God. Okay. All right. I can help. The Nebraska one.
Yeah. How many of them were Bo? How many of them?
Well,
were...
Bo has only got 1 year on here.
Yeah.
So Bo was 2-2 in the November before.
But he was good at coaching football, Connor.
And by the way, so November, Bo was 2-2 in 2014. He was 7-2 in not November. Mike Riley in November would have been 4-7 in the month of November. That's not that bad. 4-7.
All right.
Mike Riley in not the month of November would have been, let's see here, 11, 15, 8, and 12, 15 and 12 in not November for Mike Riley.
All right.
Nice job by him. Scott Frost.
Oh, Scott Frost.
Do we count the rest of last year for Scott Frost?
I don't think you can.
I think we can, Josh, and I think we should.
Oh,
I think we have to. I think he has to pay penance somehow. We're just going to count it just for the ease of my doing math. Scott Frost in the month of November was 5, and that includes the win last year against Iowa, even though he wasn't the coach. 5 and 14.
not great.
No.
Not what you're looking for.
No. Now, I guess if you take out 2022, because he didn't coach in Nebraska in the month of November in 2022, he would have been 4 and 11.
Okay.
4 and 11.
That's not good either.
Also not good, Josh. Good job. I think you got that right. Scott Frost in months that weren't November. 6, 8, 11. Why is somebody yelling at Josh right now? 11, 14, and 10, 12, 18, and 23. 14. What did I say? 14 and 23. 14 and 23 in months that weren't November. Good job. Good job by Scott Frost. And that includes, of course, 2022, in which he didn't coach most of the games that year. So there it is, broken down by coach.
Hot route. Hot route. Hot route.
Is that what somebody just screamed at you?
No.
What's hot route mean? Just go stand over there. Just go stand over there. I once again, I almost brought that up to our guest yesterday, but I thought, yeah, I don't know. He probably gets that a lot.
Probably.
They probably just stop. Email from John on the Equitable Bank inbox, which you can email to the Equitable Bank inbox, Connor at 1620thezone.com. Also, Josh O at 1620thezone.com. Please include Josh on your emails.
Please.
Josh feels left out when he doesn't get the emails.
I'm very fragile.
Please protect our young boy.
Mm-hmm.
John emails in, stop with all the numbers. I am trying to consolidate some numerical values into a single file, and you are making it difficult. See, I can't help you if you're at work and you're listening to our numbers segment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. You're just, I would never tell you to turn us down, but maybe that is your best course of action.
Maybe you get a new job.
Yeah, stop counting numbers all the time. Come on. From the text line, which Big Ten coaches, what would Big Ten coaches do if they were on the plane by any means necessary? Texter comments on Kirk Ferentz. Ferentz would ride the afterburner. I don't know. I don't know.
Are you implying that Mr. Ferentz is coasting?
Joel writes in on the Equitable Bank inbox. Once again, we're going to trust our listeners with various numbers here. We're starting out with numbers.
Hi, Joel.
Bo was 21-8 in November, 10-2 in the Big 12, and 11-6 in the Big 10. Thank you for doing that. Wow, look at all this. Yeah, you know what? Just to make John mad, emailer John mad, just keep sending us a whole bunch of numbers, and I'll read them.
We'll read the most numbers.
14,672, John. How does that sound?
Pi r squared.
It was pretty difficult to get into your job at that point. All right, that's what we got coming up on the show. You can, as I said, email into the Equitable Bank inbox, Connor at 1620thezone.com or Joshua at 1620thezone.com. The JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed is live at Connor Happer, at Happer Show, at producer_Josh. You can comment in on our YouTube. We say good morning to our YouTube audience. Star Wars Fiend wonders if I even watch Maryland football. Well, if they were still in the ACC, I wouldn't have.
Yeah, do you have ACC Network? Are you watching that?
People forget about that. Also, you can call or text 402-951-1620 on the 42 Degrees The Source hotline. We'll jump back to yesterday. When we return, we'll hear from Matt Rule. Just a couple little pieces of audio before we turn our attention to, well, I guess he turned his attention to the game, and we'll have a couple pieces of audio from that for you guys. We'll get you ready for Maryland. We'll get you ready for the weekend. Well, hopefully you've downloaded Peacock and you've taken a spin through at this point, right?
Yeah.
You guys got to be prepared. You can't wait until 10:58 tomorrow morning to download Peacock.
Great take, Connor. Great take.
You must be prepared. I don't want to see a flood of tweets and comments on Facebook pages about how it's 11:14 and I can't watch the game because I got to send all these codes to my phone and then, type in my credit card number and stuff. I don't want to see that at 11:14. I don't want to see that. I want you to watch the beginning of the game. Who knows? Nebraska might fumble the opening kickoff.
Yep.
Heinrich Haarberg might throw an interception on the first play of the game, and you won't be there to watch it all because your lack of diligence and lack of preparedness before the football game of getting Peacock all loaded up on your TV.
And young people, this is also on you. Show your parents and your grandparents how to work Peacock. Do a dry run, a dress rehearsal tonight.
Thank you, Josh.
Pull up some of the basketball
we
games
must
that are on
protect
Peacock
our old
tonight.
people. There's a bunch of Big Ten basketball games on Peacock right now. We got a Tennessee, Wisconsin tonight. You could go watch Chucky Hepburn play tonight on Peacock, but get the test run in.
It's not the fault of old folks that the world changed around them in an instant.
That's right. So we need to help them. We need to coddle them.
They wiped your butt. You teach them how to work Peacock.
You wipe their butt now. Text from the 402. I'm an accountant, and I can listen to your stats while I work because I am actually good at my job.
All right.
That's what the text said.
We just read the text. That's what we do.
That's what the text said, Josh. You don't need any. Hey, everybody love ELE. Everybody love everybody here on a Friday. in Nebraska, Maryland, bowl eligible this weekend. We'll check in on some of the other bowl eligibles that are going on around college football. It was a tough, by the way, it was a tough call for our Sickos game of the week this week. We were down to 2 finalists.
I don't know if you're ready to get into that, but I have some
Go ahead.
questions.
Go ahead.
You took the low-hanging fruit.
I did.
It can't be Iowa every week.
Yes, it
Connor.
can. Yes, it can.
No.
They're playing Rutgers, Josh, and the total is 28.5. It can be Iowa every week. I did take the low-hanging fruit. The other option was this. Pitt and Syracuse are playing this weekend at Yankee Stadium. Did you know this?
I did
Have
not.
you heard about this?
I did not. know
They're
this.
playing each other at Yankee Stadium.
On ACC Network.
Is it on the ACC network?
It is.
Yeah. There's going to be a football game at Yankee Stadium. So look at the Yankees. Look at Yankee Stadium. They're smart. You know what they do to prepare for the Pinstripe Bowl? A test run, just like you should do with Peacock tonight. Watch basketball on Peacock and get ready. 2-day trial, 7-day trial, whatever. It won't expire before the end of the game tomorrow. Get yourself ready for the football game tomorrow by downloading Peacock tonight. This is my PSA to everyone. All right, we're off and running on a Friday. Would love to hear from you guys. As always, we will return with more of the Connor Happer Show on the other side on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley.
Hyannis? Thank God you had Terry Keneally, or we would not like you in Omaha. Just telling you.
I feel like Nebraska City's one of us.
I mean, Hemingford? You should have just gone to Wyoming. Why did you insist on staying in Nebraska? Same with you people in Whitney. Just go to Wyoming.
Go consolidate your schools.
Yeah. You know what, Crawford? You're not good enough for Wyoming. Just go to South Dakota.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Cooling off as we wrap up the week Friday. Chilly to start with tons of sunshine throughout the morning. Then a few more clouds moving in through the afternoon. Winds remain light most of the day with highs around 50. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure for max strength daytime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. DayQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure. The daytime, non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Sharp, voice of Omaha men's basketball. The Texas two-step continues Saturday in Denton, Texas, against the Mean Green of North Texas. The Mavericks play game number 3 on 1180 The Zone. Airtime with the pregame show, 6:30. Tip-off is 7 o'clock. Omaha men's basketball at North Texas this Saturday.
Many people go back to the dealership out of habit or because they think the dealer is the only one who knows how to fix their car. At Omaha Car Care, we offer a better option. We have ASE certified technicians, the technology to service any vehicle, and free loaner cars. The dealer will sell you a package of services. We'll provide the service you want for your car as your trusted partner. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Giving Tuesday is our biggest local giving day of the year. On November 28th, let's celebrate what the Metro can do together. Donate to your choice of local nonprofits on Giving Tuesday and year-round at shareomaha.org. During this season of giving, donate to causes you care about in just a few clicks. Mark your calendar for November 28th. Giving Tuesday 402 is powered by Share Omaha. Give local on November 28th at shareomaha.org.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Get a YouTube comment here from Calvin.
What up, Calvin?
I checked in on Northwestern Iowa last week in the third quarter, and the live total was 17.5. Iowa can absolutely be the sickos game of the week every single week. By the way, that 17.5, if you would have hit it in the third quarter, would have came in under. So, Josh, your rebuttal to that. Why are you casting stones, Josh? Why are you casting stones?
I was trying to prevent stones from being casted against our fellow brethren across the river.
Oh, you're trying to defend Iowa now?
No.
They have Caitlin Clark. They're fine.
Oh my gosh. She had another game last night.
Yeah, she shoots like 43s a game. It's amazing.
Bit of a chucker, this Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, but she makes like 60% of them.
You can chuck when you make.
It's frankly like awe-inspiring for all of us chuckers out there. Poll question.
Is Caitlin Clark awe-inspiring for all the chuckers?
Yes. For all the people who play pickup basketball or rec league basketball and they get up 25 shots a game, is Caitlin Clark your inspiration? She is for me. That's for sure. Because I'm getting my shots up. And I'm thinking I'm Caitlin Clark. I'm the Caitlin Clark of this B. And I'm gonna make more than I miss. So give me the basketball. Watch what I do with it. All right. To Matt Rule from yesterday. You guys listened to the show yesterday, especially during the crossover. I got progressively triggered about a thing from last week's football game. And I don't think we've talked about it enough this week. And that was Billy Kemp standing back there and fair catching everything at the 6-yard line. Pretty weird. Not sure why you would do that. You could find somebody else to go out there and maybe make a play for you. Or if you're going to have your guy out there and he's just going to fair catch, fine. And that's the edict from upstairs, fine. But maybe have the wherewithal to inside the 10-yard line, just let it go. Just let it go.
Let it bounce.
All right. So it's another week, and we are watching on the status of young Billy Kemp. Matt Rule yesterday. What's the plan? What's Kemp's status, and what's the punt return plan for this week against the Terps?
Yeah, I think that's all up. That's kind of like that's all up to kind of the game situation. As you know, Memorial Stadium, like the sun, the wind, all things can be a factor. Ethan's worked it all week. Billy's worked it all week. They're both ready to go. Emmett Johnson's worked it all week. So we'll kind of get closer to the game and kind of play it as the game goes out.
Triggered. What did that sound like to you, Josh? Did you hear he mentioned, Memorial Stadium, the wind, you never know. It sounded like the next thing he was going to say after that was, sometimes you just need a safe guy back there to go back and catch the football. I'm going to be very disappointed if this happens again. That killed Nebraska last week. I mean, among many things, but it killed Nebraska last week. You cannot be fair catching punts inside the 10-yard line just because the guy that you're putting back there to return the football can't move. That's stupid. That's bad coaching.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So I'm already pre-triggered about this. If I see Billy Kemp back there and he can't move, or like if he, and he said earlier in the press conference, like, yeah, he's moving around, he's doing some things with the offense, maybe we'll see him on the offense. Okay, like if we get Billy Kemp and he has the ability to function, to move his body, then great. Put him back there. He can, number one, catch it, and number two, maybe he can, move. I didn't think being injured inhibited your decision-making process. Just let it fly over your head. I don't know. Forgive me. I feel like I'm on an island on this one. I'm mad about this.
I think there's quite a few coaching things against Michigan State that were puzzling, and you just kind of like, was the coaching staff trying some things on this late in the season and none of them worked? Seemed like,
well,
coaches don't do that.
They're, as we've talked about, they're sort of out of options on offense. They got a lot of things you've tried.
All the more reason to have a good punt returner.
All the more reason to have a punt returner that doesn't kill you. Right. And I understand standing back there and fair catching it if you just want to catch it.
Sure. Play's not there. Don't be a hero.
But
absolutely
not there. Not inside the 10-yard line. Just let it go. It makes life a lot easier for the opposing defense, especially when you already know on offense it's pretty tough hang.
They're not going to down it at the 1 every time, okay?
On the Terps, they present an interesting challenge this week. They have a quarterback who's actually pretty competent. That is different from what Nebraska has seen in the rest of the Big Ten this year. And I think more so for me, they have wide receivers who are competent. Caden Prather is really good. And Jayshon Jones, Jayshon is his first name. He's a really good player too. Maryland always has some good wide receivers. They have in the past. And so I think that's the challenge when you look at them this week. And yeah, you got a quarterback who can get it to him. Here's Matt Rule yesterday on the unique challenges that Maryland presents.
My favorite ones are the ones who, and I say this with the greatest respect for these, are the ones who aren't like
number three.
You said quarterback, and I just stopped listening.
Number three.
This week presents unique challenges in that they're going to come out and they're going to go tempo. They're going to come out and they're going to throw RPOs. They're going to come out and they're going to throw perimeter screens. They're going to come out and they're one of 3 teams in the country that's thrown 30 passes in every game in the last 2 years. It's 12 straight games with a touchdown pass. They're going to chuck it. They're going to throw it around. They're also going to run it. They're also going to get the ball on the perimeter. They have excellent playmakers, a great quarterback, great scheme. So for us, it's, you can't change what you do. It's about our guys just focusing in and trusting themselves and making their play. Last week, you go back to last week, 2 big plays, one given up on a double move, one given up on a double pass, having great eyes, having great help, having great, depth at safety. We have guys, who, it's one thing to rush in the fourth quarter of a game when you have the lead. We're going to have to rush the entire game. So it'll be a real challenge for our defense. Anytime you play against great players, it's a real challenge. And I don't want them playing defense trying to win the game. When you do that, you never play great defense because you're like, I don't want to give up a big play because, the score's tight. Defense is about cutting loose and going and playing and attacking, and they'll make plays. They're the third best offense, the third most big plays in the Big Ten. That's just in Big Ten games. That's taking out the non-conference games. So they're going to make plays, and I just want to see our defense go compete and battle. And I think it's really exciting to be playing a team of this caliber this time of year. I wish it was icy and snowy and all those things. Sounds like it's going to be a great day. So, we're just going to have to go play.
And there's a reason why he wishes it was icy and snowy. It's because of the aforementioned style that Maryland brings to the table. We saw it with Purdue a couple weeks ago, and we'll see it here. The weather will be a little bit better on Saturday than it was 2 Saturdays ago when Nebraska hosted Purdue. I think, and we've expressed some concern throughout the week for Nebraska's defense against this offense. So, that's sort of what it comes down to. And Maryland presents a unique challenge on offense. Nebraska's defense, has been pretty good this year for the most part. But really, I think, the key, and we'll get to it a little bit later, it comes down to the both bad sides, right? Maryland's not a very good defense. Nebraska's not a very good offense who could make more plays in that category. But if we're talking about the big boys with Maryland's offense and Nebraska's defense, I actually think they like, and Rule said as much, I think they like playing against tempo teams. I think they've had, they've seen it a little bit because what you can do against tempo teams is you can really, really get them out of their rhythm, And so when it snowballs against them, when you start putting bad plays, good plays for you against them, then it can snowball on them. But as Rule just said, on the other side, if it gets rolling downhill against you and they get moving a little bit, here comes the avalanche a little bit, and they can move it. And I would expect there to be a couple drives where they do, where it'll be like, wow, that seemed really easy. Why? What happened? And then on those drives, can Nebraska keep Maryland off the scoreboard? I think Nebraska's had, and I know people don't look at the Colorado game and they say, wow, Nebraska had some success that game. I still think about the first half and, what they did to put that offense out of it way, 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 way out of its comfort zone, especially from the one game that we had seen before that with Colorado. I think they, maybe I'll ask this. Shedeur Sanders versus Tulia Tagovailoa, versus like J.J. McCarthy versus Hudson Card. Like those are the best 4 quarterbacks that Nebraska is going to has seen, and will see this year. Who would you want out of all of those guys? Maybe it's Shedeur. Then maybe JJ, but obviously JJ comes along with a really good offense. And then maybe Tulia. And so he does a pretty good job. But I think they like playing against teams that can go a little tempo, that can go a little spread. But Nebraska's defense is going to have to sort of be on it on Saturday. And that'll tell a lot of the story of the game. It's a unique challenge. And like Rule said, I think there's a reason why he wants the weather to be crappy. It's not just for his own personal sicko enjoyment. It's also because it helps them quite a bit. But if they can control tempo, it can control pace in this game, then obviously you really like their chances. To the text line here at 402-951-1620, Jeff writes in. He says, I think last week was probably their worst coaching job of the season. They'll return to form this week. They do have this thing where they respond. I think we've gotten used to them being on the roller coaster quite a bit over the last several years, and they'll have a bad game, then they'll have a good game. That's how it usually works, and then they have some success, and then it's like, So I think that happened last week. Was an example of, you felt a little good about yourself, and maybe you got a little conservative or too conservative, and the margin for error for Nebraska is still done. I think Nebraska's at home. I think they'll sort of attack, and it sets up pretty well for them tomorrow. Obviously, it's going to be another close game. Here's Mike in Columbus, Ohio.
Hi, Mike.
Is there some hidden curse or root or curse put on Huskers punt and kickoff return? No matter who's coaching, the return game is a challenge. Well, you could say the same for like turnovers. I mean, everybody's written about it. Everybody's talked about it. Nebraska's turnover numbers since like the turn of the century have been just unbelievably consistently horrible. Right? They've only had a couple of years where they've gone positive in that part. So, no, I don't think it's a curse. I think you just got to do some things better. And and you got to have some guys back there who know how to do it and want to do it. Remember, DeMornay Pearsonell did exist. I mean,
people forget
he was a really good punt returner, and he wanted to do it. There's just an art to it, and there's a feel to it, and there's a speed to it, right? So I don't think Nebraska has any players on their roster who really are particularly capable of doing it at this moment. And so they got to get through that piece of it. To the phones, the 42 Degrees, The Source hotline. We take a phone call from Doug. Doug, happy Friday morning. How are you?
Great. Yeah. Sun's shining. I think it's a beautiful day. So fantastic.
Lovely.
Hey, I think you guys have alluded to it, but I hope they do this. And one thing is shorten the game. So, if we run and we're successful and get some first downs and, chew up the clock and limit them, take away big plays on their side and make their drives be like 10 or 12 plays if they're going to score, not like 3 plays. And I think, limit their number of plays. And I think, that's something that would really help us. And I think we've talked about, you guys have alluded to that, our run game has to be good and we have to take away their passing game. But shorten the game.
No doubt.
Fewer plays. Yeah, for sure. So I hope I haven't got any DMs from Rule, but I've been checking. But if he calls me or texts me, I'll let him know.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it. We got the inside with Doug and the DMs. All right, but he's right. It's totally about tempo, and I do give the advantage. Nebraska's spent a lot of time on the other side of this coin for, specifically the last 5 years before this, when they were a little bit more up tempo and they were spready and they sort of slowed down as the Scott Frost era went on. But Nebraska spent a lot of time on the other side of that coin. I simply give the advantage to teams if they have a good defense and if they're capable of getting third downs, extending drives, and hanging on to the football enough. And guess what? Nebraska's offense is capable of doing that. They are capable of doing that. They do it a few times, a time or two a game where they have a long sustained drives, and they're good for about one, really weird random 3-and-out drive a game where it's like, why did they just throw 3 passes and they were all almost intercepted / incomplete? They're good for one of those a game, but usually they're pretty good at extending drives. Most of their drives, I guess I could pull up their 3-and-out rate on offense this year. I guess I didn't update the last game. Nebraska's had 17 3-and-outs on offense this year. It's I guess not including the most recent game, but I think they had 1 or 2 in that game. So 19%. Like, they're good for 2 of those a game, basically. But usually they're pretty good at extending drives. Most of their drives are 4 to 7 plays, which is good. Average plays per drive, 5.3 for Nebraska this year. That helps. It'll have to be more than that on Saturday. But I simply always give the advantage to the teams who are capable of slowing the pace down against the teams that need to play pretty fast. And they need to be explosive. And Nebraska certainly is the team that plays that role in this situation. So, yeah, no doubt about it, Doug. No doubt about it. Let's see. I think we had another text or two that I wanted to. Oh, no, we have another piece of audio here from Rule that we can get to real quick. Here's Matt Rule on quarterbacks in general, and specifically Tulia Tagovailoa, number 2.
My favorite ones are the ones who, and I say this with the greatest respect for these, are the ones who aren't like the 7-on-7 kings. Glenn Foley's, Ed Foley's brother, longtime NFL quarterback. He always called me. He'd be like, "Be careful of the shotgun babies, man." I said, "What does that mean?" They grew up, they're in the shotgun. Everything feels good. Like, you watch Talia play, man. He's running around. He's making plays. He's not playing a 7-on-7 league where there's no one around him. Not many quarterbacks. Most young quarterbacks, hey, they get out to their right, they'll throw it down to the left, they run it. He gets out to his left. He's out, might even be more dynamic throwing the ball down the field. So he's playing quarterback, like he's playing the game, and that's what makes him great, and that's what makes him really a special player. And so when you look at the NFL, and you look at the guys who are playing at a high level in their own separate ways, right? Like, everything doesn't have to be perfect, You turn on Patrick Mahomes, his best plays are sometimes when things do break down. And so I think the thing about Talia is he can play from the pocket. He can play from outside the pocket. He can throw the ball deep. He's got great rhythm. Doesn't get balls batted down. So he's a just an all-around great player.
That's a pretty good compliment to Tulia Tagovailoa. Not a shotgun baby, which I love that phrase.
Yeah.
Watch out for the shotgun babies. Guys who just sort of have everything in front of them and they're not, they don't have to go make plays. And Tulia, because of Maryland's offensive line this year, it's really taken a step back from last year. He's had to make some plays for them, and he's capable of doing so. So that'll be the challenge to sort of hem him in. Well, we will cover that, of course, in our keys to the game a little bit later on in the show. We'll come back. We'll touch base on Michigan. and what could be expected today in terms of that mess. Jim Harbaugh might be hanging off the wing of an airplane in a couple hours. We'll see with a Friday news dump. We'll back with that next on 1620 The Zone. But first, it's the $15K payday on 1620 The Zone. You could win the ultimate payday of $15,000. That's right. Get entered to win now at 1620thezone.com.
1620 The Zone's four-quarter pick'em returns. It's your chance to win $1,620. All you have to do is correctly pick 4 college or NFL games against the spread. Listen to qualify every weekday or enter online at 1620thezone.com. One lucky listener will be selected each week to make their picks live on air.
Awesome.
Go to 1620thezone.com for complete rules and contest details. It's four-quarter pick'em with 1620 The Zone.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is always looking to make your game day bigger and better. Cheer on your favorite team this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall showing up to 8 games at once. TVs are everywhere else you can look with a state-of-the-art audio and video system. Enjoy a big old pizza or award-winning char-buffed wings. There's just no better way to do your game day. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road. And for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Betting on your favorite sporting events just got a whole lot easier. Warhorse Sportsbook is now open in Omaha. Save yourself the drive across the river and put your money where your mouth is at Horseman's Park, 6303 Q Street. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
And now, try Babbel free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Football season has arrived. You'll be going to games and maybe you have seats high up. Well, go to Kugler Vision and make sure that you can see all of the action on the football field. Low monthly payment plans are available, and Kugler Vision gladly accepts your flex plans and medical spending accounts too. Give them a call at 402-558-2211 or schedule online at KuglerVision.com.
Giving Tuesday is our biggest local giving day of the year. On November 28th, let's celebrate what the Metro can do together. Donate to your choice of local nonprofits on Giving Tuesday and year-round at shareomaha.org. During this season of giving, donate to causes you care about in just a few clicks. Mark your calendar for November 28th. Giving Tuesday 402 is powered by Share Omaha. Give local on November 28th at shareomaha.org.
As we get closer and closer to the Michigan decision, the Michigan punishment trademark,
Jim Gray is going to sit in front of the University of Michigan and ask Tony Petitti his decision.
Whichever way it comes out, I don't think it'll be received very well. It doesn't seem.
Somebody's going to be mad.
The timing is a bit odd. Michigan's going for their biggest game of the year to date on the road at Penn State. They'll be leaving in an hour. I got a report from Heather Dinich this morning of ESPN. Sources indicate a Big Ten response is coming early this afternoon. Michigan leaves at 1 Eastern time and flies mid-afternoon out of Detroit after getting through security checks per usual routine. Didn't need to know that second sentence, really. It's like, they're just going to leave at 1. That's all right. Adam Rittenberg reports as of about 15 minutes ago, Michigan's administration has not heard from the Big Ten as of this hour. Per sources, the team will begin its preparations to leave for Penn State around 1 Eastern, really going down to the wire within discipline, which, as several sources noted, isn't really fair to players. Well, I mean, I guess the fair game really works on a couple different sides of the coin, Josh.
Oh, yeah? What's
Do you
that?
think it's fair to know everybody's signs?
Oh, interesting take by you.
No, I mean,
everybody's doing it though, Connor. It's fine.
This is not going to go well for Tony Petitti. It's not going to go well for him. I'm sorry. And he's put in a bad situation, much like Kevin Warren was when a pandemic hit in his first couple months as being the commissioner, and oh boy, did he botch that one. But we already have people opining nationally about how this would never happen under Jim Delaney, and we are remembering the olden times when Jim Delaney was the commissioner of the Big Ten, and nothing bad but ever happened, of course, when Jim Delaney was in charge.
Nothing bad happened under his watch.
Yeah. Now this league is running amok. It's out of control, and we'll have a punishment potentially while Michigan is in the air, while Michigan is leaving for their biggest game of the year to date on the road to Penn State. Exciting. That's the latest news. And then, oh yeah, by the way, Tom Mars is involved. Go Tom Mars. And he says Jim Harbaugh is going to be on that plane one way or another. One way. He told every national college football reporter that this morning, because every single one of them tweeted out the same thing. Quote, one way or another. All right.
He's gonna wear a Valentine style disguise.
So what's this gonna be? Is this gonna be a suspension of Jim Harbaugh? Kind of seems like it.
It does kind of seem like it.
Is that enough? I don't think that we have found a consensus on what everybody thinks should be the proper punishment for this. I don't think we're really even close to that.
Everybody's just, well, you got to do something. The playoffs coming.
Right. And so when that happens, everybody's got ideas, but we don't really have an understanding of what we feel like should happen at this point.
3-game suspension. What do we?
I don't know. The light doesn't work.
I don't know.
Sometimes the light works and sometimes it doesn't, Josh. But we are headed toward this being not a great PR situation for the Big Ten. I mean, it's already not. And it's dealing with your nation, your conference's maybe premier or 1B institution, and they're caught up in this scandal, and they have a very loud and boisterous coach about what he wants, and we also have this scandal that is behind it, and it's unprecedented, so nobody knows what to do in terms of a punishment, and you feel like it might have to happen this year. Now, the notion of it being of things, because this is what'll happen when the suspensions are levied. Is it fair to the players, right? Can we punish the players? Like, I get that when we're talking about normal NCAA investigations, when we're talking about coaches and recruiting violations and $100 handshakes and agents and all that stuff. Like, I get that. That doesn't involve the players. Why do we have to have a postseason ban for them when that involves the players? Now, the players weren't in charge of operating this, but they certainly benefited from it. Right?
Yeah.
So are they, it's not like the players are just totally off the hook here, Josh. I don't know. I just don't think that same, it's not fair to the players thing really applies in this case. Like there's more gray area with this one.
Michigan, NCAA, Big Ten, they're in a tricky situation where to get the quote unquote mastermind of it all, you gotta do something right now because he's gonna leave.
Yeah.
And that's players are probably going to be collateral damage in this.
I kind of think so too. And I don't think that has to be like the worst that, like, because that, once again, that's what will happen. If they get the suspension, if Jim Harbaugh gets suspended for the rest of the year, or multiple assistant coaches get suspended for the rest of the year, whatever ends up happening, people will come back and say, like, is this fair to the players who were just innocent bystanders in this situation? And I'm not saying that they weren't innocent bystanders, but certainly more involved in this process. Like, there's something that has to happen to this team. This is an NCAA investigation. This is a quote unquote scandal that directly affects this football team and their performance of this football team. It is not, like I said, it is not agents and shoe people meeting at a hotel in Vegas, right? It's not any of that. It's like, it has a direct effect on the performance of this football team, which, by the way, to get back to the original point, probably would have been pretty good either way. Probably would have been pretty good either way.
Didn't need this, for sure.
Didn't necessarily need this, and they've been benefiting from it for the last couple of years, so it's hard to tell. There's a lot of gray area in that too. If you want to answer the question of like what needs to happen and what are the suspensions and what are the fines that need to be paid here, well, then you probably have to answer the question of to which degree did this help the Wolverines? Like how did this really help them? Can we put a tangible mark on how much this really benefited Michigan over the last couple of years? Nope. Can't do that. I wish we could, but we can't. We got a text here from Cody.
Hey, Cody.
It'd be awesome if they suspended Harbaugh mid-flight and then he has to parachute out and walk home.
This is a team flight, and you are not allowed to be with the team.
And then he's the head coach of the Chicago Bears in like 48 hours.
Is there going to be a meeting on the tarmac?
Maybe.
Tony Petitti's just out.
No, well, it's so hard to get to Happy Valley that there's no Big Ten officials there. I don't think.
If I don't answer my phone when Tony calls, I don't get suspended. Jim, you've been blocking my calls. You've been sending me right to voicemail. I've met you on the tarmac here to tell you that you're going to have to sit for 3 games.
Sorry. Text from the 402.
Hi, 402.
Was it fair to Ohio State's players in the last couple of years when Michigan knew all the plays they were going to run? Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, they directly benefited from this.
Yeah.
And don't you think that there were some, Michigan players who, while this is happening, thought, this isn't right?
I'll bet America's sweetheart Aiden Hutchinson definitely wanted to speak up but couldn't for fear of retribution.
Matt writes in on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. If punishment for Michigan comes as they're flying, does Harbaugh have to move out to the wing mid-flight? I'm very curious about this.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think it's anything like that. I think they'll probably, just keep him on the plane and then he just won't be able to coach the game. But it'd be funny if they were like, land the plane right now, get him off that thing, and then you can continue your trip.
You have to spend the next 24 hours in Happy Valley with nothing to do. Gotcha, Harbaugh.
If I'm Jim Harbaugh, this is exactly how I'm playing it, though. I'm just going to be like, yeah, I'm going on business as normal until you tell me I can't.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's it. All right, so maybe we'll hear something finally today during the show.
Also obligatory, yes. Desmond Howard is a little biased in this whole thing.
Oh, we can't be mad about Desmond Howard anymore, guys. We gotta stop this.
Let it go.
It's we get it. He's very inconsistent. And he's very biased. It's okay.
He said something bad about Nebraska one time.
He did. He's very inconsistent. Wow, look at Pat McAfee's got his guns out again.
Oh, where are they at? Oh,
looks like they're in
Georgia.
Right? His shirt says, eat off the floor.
That is not healthy. Once again, bad health information coming from the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah. Also, spray tans are probably pretty bad, too.
Yeah, that's got to be what he's doing. It's November, right?
It's a spray. Oh, God, yes. My guy goes and gets a spray tan before every show.
That's his Thursday tradition.
This is your king? This is your prince?
Celebrate with us, the Pasty Boys.
Bryan Munson of Husker Online will
Also pasty.
Join the show next when we come back on 1620 The Zone. A reminder first that Fourth Quarter Pick'em is back, and you could listen to the cue to call 3 times per day. Get qualified to make your picks in any upcoming Division I college football game or NFL game. If you go 4-0, you win $1,620. There's only 2 ways to get qualified. You listen all day long and you listen for the cue to call, or you go to our website and find the second chance to get qualified. 1620thezone.com.
I'm a fabulous driver.
The Connor Happer Show
I'm one of the best friends you could ever have in your life.
on 1620 The Zone.
I hate you.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Sports fans, Let It Fly Sports Bar is your elevated sports bar experience. Indulge in our culinary touchdowns with a menu crafted to satisfy. Savory burgers, tender steaks, to our fire wings. Our world-renowned chef will leave your taste buds cheering for more. We've raised the sports bar dining experience with a new high-end design and incredible food. Whether you're a die-hard sports fan or just love the excitement, Let It Fly is your place. Host your next college game day watch party or private event right here. Elevate your game day experience at Let It Fly, located in downtown Omaha.
Home is where your health is, where your family gathers together, takes care of each other. And right there with you is Nebraska Medicine. We're proud to take care of Nebraska, to deliver everything your family needs. From immediate care to neurosurgery, it's expertise you can be confident in. With locations throughout the region and telehealth appointments from the comfort of home. Find a provider close to you at nebraskamed.com.
Home is with you wherever that may be.
Does eating at home have you singing the blues? Stop by Cobb's at the Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, or 72nd and Jones to grab a delicious pizza, burgers, fresh salad, and some tasty charred wings. They even offer keto crusts and an extensive variety of shareable appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Cobb's, now with 3 convenient locations to serve you. Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and 72nd and Jones. Click cobbspizza.com to see the menu, pizza, and so much more.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house. Tell us how you feel on the J-Tech Construction and Solar Zone Twitter feed. Reach Gary, Nick, Connor, Josh, and John anytime on the J-Tech Construction and Solar Zone Twitter feed. Contact the official exterior and solar experts of the Huskers, J-Tech Construction, at yourexteriorexperts.com.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Put your coffee department in good hands with Host Coffee Service, providing direct delivery and loaned coffee equipment with service programs. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Listen to 1620 The Zone, weekdays for the Big Red Practice Report, presented by Tickets for Less. Visit ticketsforless.com and use promo code The Zone to score incredible savings for your favorite team. It's the Big Red Practice Report, brought to you by Tickets for Less.
Let It Fly, your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Come out!
Bryan Munson.
Hey, long call. Comfy left Zoom Buster. 63 Bang Z Maui. Alert. Paradise Z Burger Y Wrap on one.
Husker Online on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right. Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com joins us now on the 42 Degrees, the Source Hotline. Hello, Bryan. Happy Friday. How are you?
It is Friday. It is a redemption week, right, for the Huskers. Got to get some. Got to get back in that. Got to get bowl eligible, brother.
They got to find a way.
This is the week to do it.
I think so. I think you. I mean, the pressure will continue to sort of grow, especially if they don't win this week or if they're in a close game in the fourth quarter, which I completely expect.
Unfortunately, what you just nailed it. I think Nebraska has had a way of kind of taking the game and elevating the importance, elevating, why we need to do it. And essentially it just becomes this huge house of cards, and it just becomes this really, really like it's bigger than the actual moment in the game itself. I think it's like one of those things that you could just hear, like Matt Rule, getting the locker room, ready to kind of discuss it with the team. It's like, this is a team that you guys can go out and beat if you guys gave us the effort that you did on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to get out of the frame of mind that that sixth win is so, it's eluding you. It's not eluding you. Go take it. Just go get it. You're at home now. And that should be a great reason for, those guys to go out there that maybe didn't have the greatest week last week at East Lansing and have a better week this week, underneath in the friendly confines of Memorial Stadium in front of Husker Nation. I think that'd be the way I would want to go out there and lead that team and tell them to motivate them. Just forget about bowl eligibility. That'll happen naturally if you just go out and do your job.
Well, they still got 3 weeks of the season left. But I'm sure that you're sitting around gearing up for the month of December, which I don't know is setting up to be. I mean, there's always going to be a lot of stuff going on, but we're talking about transfer portal and finishing out the recruiting class and staff moves and stuff like that. Like, are we locked in and prepared for what's coming down the pipe here in about 4 weeks?
I think that there are several. I think there's several storylines that, as you kind of mentioned, as we near National Signing Day in December, that Nebraska fans need to be focused on. I think the first one is Grant Brix and the offensive tackle position in general. I mean, Brix is off to Norman this weekend. He is going to visit, just as he did for visiting Nebraska. I think it was for Northwestern. It might have been for Purdue. I'm getting the weekends kind of, tumbling together in my mind. He is off to Norman this weekend to check out the Sooners. He will then return to Manhattan one last time, I think the weekend of Thanksgiving. And then we'll see. We'll kind of roll back into that same kind of paused timeline that we've been on essentially since July, since August, and see if he has enough information and is ready to make a decision and go public with it. So I think that's the first one, because you get into some really kind of interesting things. If Brix decides to carry on into December, what do you do about tackle? Do you just bring in a Xander Rugaroli at some point there? Is there another offensive tackle that Nebraska is keeping warm that they're trying to keep out there for, and if Brix decides to go elsewhere, would they take both and just say, we've got to bring Xander into for a CYA kind of a situation? And then there's running back. I mean, Nebraska still has not found the answer yet, to fill the hole, that Kewan Lacey has created. And I mentioned, like in the comments of Tunnel Talk, I mean, it's not just the cause and effect of the decommitment. There's ripple effects. I mean, Lacey caused Nebraska to move on from other running backs that were set to officially visit. And now Nebraska's kind of out there looking around, trying to find another guy that makes sense for them. Number one, that can come in and play that style of football, who's productive, who's got speed, who has kind of that ability to do a little bit of everything, like what Lacey was being, kind of tagged to do, whether it's receiver to returner to running back. And I think that they do have maybe a guy on their or off their radar a little bit. Maybe somebody they're trying to keep a little bit quiet down there in Florida, named JT Bronow. Very, very, very productive running back. Was named District Player of the Year recently. I think that that's a guy that, as things maybe move closer towards the end of the year, maybe watch to see if he's a guy that, Nebraska brings in. You got the portal stuff like you had mentioned. I'm interested to see what happens like with Desmond Demas from junior college. I mean, there's a couple junior college guys that Nebraska should be hosting between the Iowa weekend into December. There's some storylines, bro, and I think obviously you got the stuff that where you got guys that'll be exiting the program, and I think Nebraska could potentially know about most of them. There'll be some stuff that's going to come out of left field, like Alante Brown potentially, and they'll have to make some decisions on how to kind of handle that going into the spring semester.
Let's go back and because I want to touch on sort of all that stuff. But the tackle spot. So is there a world where they take both Ruggiero-Lee and Grant Bricks?
I mean, you could. I mean, the good news about your tackle position is at least you can put to bed some of the risk of Talmua not having played this season because he returned to action last week. So maybe if you felt like you didn't know like what was really kind of going on at tackle because you didn't have Bricks, Talmua was still hurt with a knee injury. Gibson Pyle probably could do something, to spin out there, at tackle, but he's really an IOL guy. I think that Nebraska has to feel a little bit better at Talmua, but then again, I mentioned in Tunnel Talk last week, Talmua went from a guy who was eyeballing, enrolling early at Nebraska in January. He won't be there now until June. So he's got some academic work too to kind of get going on. So not to sit there and cause any more distress about the tackle position, but Talmua has got some academic work in front of him, and he will not be there in January. So is it possible? Yeah. People think, and I think they need to understand that even if you decided to do that, or let's just say that Ruggiero-Lee is the offensive tackle in general, you're going to get a good player, but this is a guy that's only played a couple years of high school football. And he is going to need some time. He's seen really good football competition at Bishop Gorman. He's played at a high level. I think he's going to have really good feet that goes along with being a basketball player. But I think that that's a guy that, needs to get into a strength and conditioning program. I mean, I think that they've worked him very hard at Bishop Gorman. It's going to be very much more like a college program than most high schools would. But I just don't feel like he would be close enough to where you could start talking about him, being part of the picture the next fall. So if they do, it's still not going to matter for a couple of years. I think Bricks is the only tackle out there that I feel like could possibly put himself in a position to play next year is going to be Grant Bricks. I think that's going to be the guy that Nebraska has circled for that reason.
You mentioned running back too. So what's your best guess on how it plays out? Not necessarily like the people, the specific person that they might bring in or people that they bring into the program, but like the types. Yep. So you're losing Anthony Grant. And then I think so Ramir was Ramir under the 4 this year and he could take a red shirt, or there was something with that, or he's trying to get back for another year.
Could. I think the initial assessment from Coach Rule was he wouldn't, and then I think by the second week or so after he had been injured, it sounded like he was interested in coming back. So
medical
going to be a possibility. It's just going to be, I think, a matter of where is your body at, but then think again about like Anthony Grant and what kind of path he's kind of been on. That's I don't want to say advanced age, but I mean for a senior, he's like 24, 25, and had a couple knee injuries himself. So I think that's going to be one to watch anyway to see what happens.
Yeah, well, Grant, he will have expired his eligibility by the end of this season. So then Irvin, he gets healthy. Emmett Johnson's back next year. Quentin Ives back next year. So does do you bring in how many running backs in the recruiting class, and then how active are you in the portal after that? I would imagine there's probably going to be at least 2 more running backs that join the program this offseason. And then it just sort of depends on, what kind of guys that they are and what you're selling them.
I think that that's probably reasonable. I think that, if Bronow is like the guy I referenced in Tunnel Talk, if that's a guy that you're interested in bringing in, then great. There could be a guy that could be ready to go week 1, maybe week 4, maybe something that you ease into the season as you're kind of going. Maybe injuries prompt him to get into service. But I think, to your point, based on Grant leaving, I think the questions around the health of Irvin or Johnson, or just those guys coming back from injury in general, you've only really got Ives and Emmett that are coming back that are returners that haven't been injured and lost for the season so far from the rest of the room. I think that that's probably a reasonable number. I think that you try to grab a 2024 and then you head back. Can you get a junior college guy like Grant?
Yeah.
I don't think those guys are out there. I think that the way they stumbled onto him was very fortuitous.
It was super late. Yeah.
Super late. It was December, man. I mean, that was a name that was getting tossed around like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before Christmas. It was insane. So, and the fact that you didn't have any other attention just boggles your mind a little bit. So maybe there's a guy like that out there, but I think that, transfer portal, I think, is definitely going to be a path Nebraska's going to be interested in taking a look at.
A guy you wrote about today. So Nebraska already has their quarterback for the class of 24 in Daniel Kalen. Their top target, it seems, for the class of 25 is Alex Mansky from the state of Iowa. And he seems like a regional, recruit at this point. He's entertaining offers sort of like Iowa State, Nebraska at this point. Maybe there's more out there for him next year in his senior season. But am I right on that? That seems to be their kind of option at the quarterback spot for 25. And then, you touched on him because he's making a visit to Iowa City this weekend.
You're right on all fronts. And I think the bigger point that you made that I think people need to remember when it comes to Mansky may be visited 4 different campuses this fall so far with Nebraska, Iowa State, Kansas State. Minnesota has been trying to get him there. I think he chose last second to visit, I think, Iowa the last weekend in September versus visiting Minnesota. But the word that you used to describe Mansky is spot on. You used the word regional. He is currently a regional target. You've got the 2 in-state schools. You've got neighboring schools or neighboring state schools. But what happens here, and this is what we've seen before, like with Grant Bricks. Grant was kind of a regional guy until Notre Dame showed up, and kind of the same thing about Carter Nelson too, right? I mean, a school like a Notre Dame, and this is well within the reach of a Notre Dame, and I think Notre Dame does have a 2025 quarterback already. So don't go out there and put me on blast because they've already got a commitment. But my point is that you can take a national type of program, and they could decide that they want to go ahead and throw their hat in the ring, and then Mansky goes from this 4 or 5 team kind of regional guy and just completely blows up. And this is a guy, that he wants to, he knows how the game of musical chairs works with the quarterback spots with the D1 schools. You've got to be earlier, typically than what the other guys are to kind of secure your spot. And then there's kind of this domino effect that happens afterward, and there's a scramble to get your guy. So with having 4 or 5 schools kind of out there and, nibbling at you, that means there's 3 or 4 schools that'll absolutely have some sort of a fallout, from not getting you, and they've got to move on to the next guy on their board. So I think that he's going to try to make a decision. I say in that February, March timeframe, but that might actually be a month early. I think maybe it might be like an evaluation period, kind of April timeline. So you probably see something late first, early second quarter with Mansky when it comes to his commitment. And that's about the right timeline, I would think. He may actually be a little bit late, and maybe there are some things there that speed up his process.
Anything notable for this weekend in terms of visitors?
I do. I mentioned it at the very end of Tunnel Talk. Uchenyayo Ohada from Carmel, Indiana. Please don't make me say that name again because I think I butchered it the first time.
Oh, we'll let you get away with that one. You're good.
You let me get away.
Yeah.
I'll use my get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
he's a player that I mentioned maybe a month ago when he took his original first visit. I'm trying to remember what weekend he came in too. He picked up an offer, and some reports got back to me that he was really sold on Nebraska. This is a guy that's seen Notre Dame and seen some other area schools. I would pay close attention. He's right now my pick to be the first out-of-state commitment for Nebraska in the 2025 class, and that would be absolutely huge. Go put his huddle on. He is a dude, and that would be really a guy that could get the 2025 class going in the right direction. You put him next to Tyson Terry on the defensive line after you miss him like a guy like Williams Nwaneri this last year, huge guy, national guy. Ojeda here would be a huge person to get in the 2025 class.
There you go. Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. Okay, Munson, we'll let you go. Appreciate the update as always, my friend, and enjoy your weekend.
Hey, we will have a visitor list coming up, about 80 people in town this weekend. Some other good ones coming up, too. That'll be up this afternoon, I think.
There you go. Check it out, HuskerOnline.com. See you, Munson.
See you, buddy.
That is Bryan Munson of HuskerOnline.com. Yeah, they usually put that visitor list out this afternoon or tomorrow morning. I want to go back to just spend a minute here on the running backs. So just looking at the distribution right now. So Grant's done after this year. Johnson, I think, Ramir, his future is sort of up in the air at best. Gabe Ervin has now suffered multiple long-term season-ending injuries in the first, in two out of the first 3 years of his career. Emmett Johnson's there, but I don't, and to be fair to Emmett, he's done a really good job this year. I don't know that anybody expects him to be the future feature back of the future. And then there's Quentin Ives back there, who they took in the transition, the 2023 class, who we expected to sort of be, part of the thing this year, but they haven't really needed him because Fleeks has popped in there, and that's kind of been the story at running back so far with him and Emmett Johnson. And then you, of course, have Heinrich, who's running it all over the place. Heine, man. So you definitely, they lost Kawan Lacey for the 24 class, which is, I really think that's, he's a good player. He'll be a good player for somebody else somewhere. And I think they really wanted to keep that commitment. Obviously they had him for a long time and just, got some big offers late, and we'll see where he ends up. Got to take a running back in the 24 class, who you like. But the more I think about it, Josh, I don't know what's going to be out there in terms of the portal market. We'll find out in 3-4 weeks time here. And the junior college market seems like it could be a possibility here. We're going to talk a lot about quarterback for the next month here. Running back is
just as important, if not more.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself. I don't think more. I don't think more, but
sure.
They gotta have a guy there who they can rely on. And maybe it's just Gabe Ervin when he comes back. But are you at the point now where you look at his career and you're like, man, we can't count on him to stay healthy? Maybe. I don't know. But there's got to be a sort of plan there. It works. It's a position that is most comparable to quarterback in terms of how you treat and how you evaluate players, because for the most part, only one can play at a time. Mm-hmm. There's obviously 2 or 3 of them that have roles on the team, but everybody wants to be the feature back. So guys move in and guys move out. Is there a guy somewhere else where you're like, man, that'd be nice if you could have that guy? They got some stuff. They got some questions to answer.
It's important for what they want to do.
It's important for what they want to do.
I know there's no Big Ten West next year, but
they want to run the football still. Yeah. They got to have a good running back. Nebraska's got to have a good running back. Nebraska next year better have a 1,000-yard rusher.
Ooh.
Is Nebraska's next 1,000-yard rusher on this team right now?
No, I think you need some hosses up front. Like I hate to do that thing, but
he's probably sitting somewhere else around the country right now.
Yeah.
He better be on the team next year.
Yeah, yes.
Right? They need a guy who can run for 1,000 yards.
Agree.
Next year. Maybe it's Gabe Ervin. All right. Bryan Christopherson of Husker 24/7 joins us next. We'll ask about turtles. various other things. Also, I noticed that he enjoyed the tweet yesterday of 1 day since country music's last award show.
We got to switch that during the break.
We could bounce some things off of him in that regard as well. And
2 days now.
Maybe about the running back position as well. Back with BC next on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Time for your Grum Down. The Trev Troubles, the story that broke yesterday from the Flatwater Free Press.
Freaking bugs.
What? You just murdered it in cold blood. Anywho.
They're crawling everywhere, John. There's another one. The bugs.
Anyway, back to the Grum Down.
Yeah, the Grum Down. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny with a few clouds here for your Friday afternoon. Cooler today with a high in Omaha 51 degrees. Light southeasterly winds up to 10 miles an hour. Clouds increase late tonight, partly to mostly cloudy skies, becoming breezy overnight as well. A bit chilly with a low in Omaha of 35. Southeasterly winds up to 15 miles an hour. Not as cool for your Saturday, mostly cloudy, seasonal with a high of 56 and breezy. Southerly gusts possible up to 25 miles an hour. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Caller 4 right now, 402-951-1620. Qualifies for 1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em. It's your chance to pick 4 football games correctly against the spread to win $1,620. Call 402-951-1620. Call now to qualify with 1620 The Zone.
It's the most time-honored tradition to start the weekend, grabbing a cold one from a local Nebraska brewery. Let's be real here. It's hot outside, and you don't want to drink the same boring beer as those Hawkeye fans. Drink icy cold, Nebraska-brewed beers, cider, or seltzers instead. Each week, we're putting the spotlight on a unique Nebraska brewery with One Beer Friday. Share your brew on social media with the hashtag One Beer Friday, and you'll be entered to win a $25 gift card to a local Nebraska brewery. Nebraska is the good life with great beer. Click nebraska.beer to learn more.
And now Martha Stewart for Skechers. When I make a dish or embark on a craft project, I always use the finest, most fabulous ingredients and materials. Which is why, when it comes to footwear, I love Skechers. Because Skechers is the comfort technology company and uses the most luxurious, innovative materials and designs to make wondrously comfortable footwear with all the fits and features like Arch Fit and Skechers' world-famous air-cooled memory foam. It's exactly the way I'd make shoes.
Find Skechers at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Dust. It's in the living room, the bedroom, and the bathroom. It's also in your lungs. Let's fix that, shall we? Duck Defense Midwest offers a comprehensive system that cleans, disinfects, filters, and purifies the air. They'll make your home healthier and improve the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com right now for a special air duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. cleanairradio.com.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here with Dr. Lance Kugler of Kugler Vision. You know, it's been 5.5 years since I had my procedure done at Kugler Vision. I remember going in for the eye analysis and finding out, hey, there's something other than LASIK.
Well, I think it's important to have a full analysis of the eye so that you can make a good recommendation. A lot of the patients that we see have been told over the years, sometimes a long time ago or sometimes more recently, that there isn't an option for them. And I think that's just because they haven't had as in-depth of analysis as they need to know for sure what their options are.
And I think one of the coolest things about that entire process was how comfortable I felt. And I know as I've talked to other people who had procedures done, they said the same thing, whether it was the consultation, whether it was the day of the procedure, all of those questions were answered. And like there was genuine care for me as an individual person.
We all have the same goal. We want you to see as well as you possibly can.
Schedule an eye analysis today, 402-558-2211, or you can visit their website, kuglervision.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Giving Tuesday is the biggest local giving day of the year. On November 28th, let's celebrate what the Metro can do together in just 24 hours. Donate to your choice of local nonprofits on Giving Tuesday at shareomaha.org. During this season of giving, it's easy and fun to donate to causes you care about in just a few clicks. Support animals, children, veterans, the environment, and more. Join Share Omaha on November 28th and be a part of Hearts and Hands giving to hundreds of local nonprofits strengthening our neighborhoods. Giving Tuesday is the day to be counted among those who are doing what's needed in our community. Now's the time to give all we can. Giving Tuesday 402 is powered by Share Omaha. Give local on November 28th at shareomaha.org. Simply go to shareomaha.org to give to the nonprofits of your choice. All in one stop on Giving Tuesday and every day.
Hey, Brian. Bryan Christopherson.
I gotta take this. It's Hap.
B. Rooney drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
Bryan Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, join now the 42 Degrees, the Source hotline by Bryan Christopherson of Husker 24/7. BC, hello. Happy Friday. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I just got a new computer, so I'm trying to get it set up.
Oh, no. Did you get all the stuff transferred over from your old computer?
Log into Peacock.
I think I got most of it over. Yeah, so that's been my last hour. My other one, I was a good friend of mine, but it seems like it blew up or something. I don't know. And I have a game tomorrow. We have a game tomorrow to cover. We got to do it well. And
that's right.
I had to get a new machine for it.
That's good. I'm glad you noticed, just like the rest of America is now coming to notice, that there's a country music award show like every 6 days now. That's good. We need to keep informing the people about this.
You're a clever guy.
Put it in the open. Put it in the open.
No, you actually are. That's not just bluster. That's truth. And you posted that, and I immediately chuckled because I thought that it's like another one. It feels like every 2 weeks there's a show with, and it's usually like the same like cast of 3 or 4 country stars who are hosting it too. It's like the same deal, but I'm not against country music. I just think it's funny.
I'm not either. They just have a lot of award shows, so it's just something that we've come to notice. It's simple things, man. It's just observations. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
So
Good
yeah,
humor.
we're keeping track. We're up to 2 on the counter in our board in the studio right now. Okay, BC, let's get to the Terps. Crab cakes and football. The chatter and the conversation around Husker football almost always has surrounded, the quarterback, as it sort of continues to this week. And, to an extent, how much is this game about Nebraska? Like, you look at it and you say, all right, Maryland's got an offense, Nebraska's got a defense. That'll be sort of the big match up of the game. I kind of look at the other side and I say, well, who's able to win out of Nebraska's offense, which hasn't been good, and Maryland's defense, which hasn't been good? That may tell you some of the story tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's a game where I feel like for Nebraska to come out on top, they're going to need like that explosive they had in their previous home games, right? Where you had that, 50, 70-yard play where you get them over the top, something like that gets you points that way. And then, every week we can say the same thing. It's on repeat until it isn't. But, you can't obviously live with 3 to 4 turnovers. And if Nebraska could somehow get that number of giveaways to 1 or less, just 1 or less, let's go with that. It sounds snarky to say, but even 2 or less, you'd say, that'd be interesting. I think Nebraska can pull that off. But just if they had a pretty clean game and had 1 or 2 explosives mixed in, that might be enough with this Husker defense. I do think Nebraska's defense, there is a certain level of motivation that was evident from guys this week. I mean, Nash Helpmaker is usually a man of few words, but he kind of slipped in there like it's going to be different. Like that wasn't up to our standard against Michigan State. And it's not like they played bad on that side of the ball, but I do like that those guys really buy into when Matt Rule or Tony White kind of challenges them after a game. Like, it's not what you guys can do. They nod their head to that, and that's a good thing. So I think they're going to come and play some pretty good ball tomorrow and give the offense a chance. You just can't continually keep putting that defense in precarious spots where you are always asking them to stop, 35-yard drives and things of that nature.
How difficult on that defensive side? The challenge is really interesting, and Rule talked about some of the, what Maryland's bringing that's a little bit different to the table than what you've seen in the rest of the Big Ten, especially the Big Ten West. Their wide receivers are pretty good. They have, it's probably the 3rd or 4th best quarterback that Nebraska has seen and will see all year long. How difficult of a challenge will it be for Nebraska's back end tomorrow? Because, they'll have to get after the passer, and that obviously can help, but I think there'll be a lot of pressure on the back four of that defense.
Yep, and there's high-end talent when it's on in Nebraska's back end. Like Quinton Newsome can be one of the best corners in this conference when he's on. And Tommy Hill is, it's kind of a roller coaster with him. Like he can have moments where he's great, and then he has had some clunkers mixed in as well. So they need Tommy to be really consistent tomorrow. I mean, it's just going to be and consistently good. That is, not have those 1 or 2 plays where you get caught with bad eyes or whatever, and have a 45-yard payment for it. So Tommy Hill's probably one of the biggest keys of this game. The last weekend, on the first drive, he makes a great break on a ball in the red zone where he almost picks it, and that's what he's capable of. But then, of course, there's the other series where he bit on the fake, and then gave up on the touchdown. So he just needs to have one of those games where all his high-end talents kind of come forward, and he meets the moment. It's a big game for Marquise Buford too. I mean, they really trust him, and he's one of the savviest guys, I think, in that locker room about understanding stuff, which is why he's already back on, in a key role. But it's only a second game back after an 11-month rehab. And so, he's going to have to play a really good game without much runway to a game like this. So he's going to have a big job ahead.
What's your read on how they'll handle? There's one that comes to my mind immediately, and that's James Williams, who's played in 3 games this year, who I look at this game and I think this might be, if you're trying to keep him at 4 or under, this might be the game where you deploy him out of the final 3. There's a couple guys that are sort of sitting on that edge. And I don't know how like big of a deal it is in the grand scheme of things, red shirt or no red shirt. And I know it's sort of up to the guys as well, but I think there's a few guys kind of hanging on that edge. Like, how do you play that over these 3 games while also mixing together with, you got to find a way to get to a bowl game by any means necessary?
I think unless the player himself is just outright against it, and it's like, hey, I really want to keep that shirt, I think you go with the guys that you think can help you the best at each spot. And if you think Ethan Nation can really give you a lift in the punt return game, if he's shown you something there, he's the one I think of first, because he's right at 4 games right now. And it's kind of unfortunate how it's happened because he's only kind of went in for a play or two. And he's one of those cases where if they put him back at punt returner and nothing really happens the last 3 games and it's mostly fair catches and stuff like that, you'll get some groaning about, well, that was a waste. And I guess that's fair. But there's the other part of that is if he goes back there and he does have that one return,
it's all worth it.
Yeah. So that's like what we're talking about here. It's like one play could swing the narrative on if that was a good move or a bad move. But I think if you don't think that Billy Kemp can move yet, and when he's got 15, 20 yards of space, can do anything with that, then I think you've got to do what's best for your team, and that's probably Ethan Nation right now. I know Emmett Johnson also got some reps back there, so I guess that's a possibility. But that'll be an interesting one. James Williams, I think you just play him at this point. He's played in 3. He's a sophomore. I know the plan was to redshirt him. You're right. I think tomorrow's the game to definitely use him, and then maybe you evaluate from there. But he's been so steady, and his reps are climbing. And as Tony White said this week, it's not just that he's as much a niche guy right now. He's starting to grow into some other roles where they're trusting him more. I think he's earned enough playing time that it could be worth it for him and this team to get him out there for the final 3.
BC, on the punt return thing, I've talked about this a lot over the last 2 days. I still can't believe they played that how they played that last week. I mean, I don't think they can afford to be in a situation where you got a guy, and I get putting him out there just a fair catch, Billy Kemp, but there has to be some situational awareness where, like, we can't have a fair catch inside the 10-yard line. That killed Nebraska on multiple occasions last week.
Yeah, and I think there is some holdover stuff from the last regime where when a similar thing happens again, there's sort of this dramatic reaction, which maybe this staff's like, man, people are really fired up about this. But it feels like for 5 years we've watched guys fair catch punts at like the 5-yard line for Nebraska. That we've seen guys fair catch it at the 2.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
And
we've just seen a guy try to throw it out of the end zone. That guy's one of the better players in the NFL right now, by the way.
Yeah. Shows a great player can have a bad moment. Yeah, I think it's one of those topics people are just sort of fed up with because they're like, man, it's already like feels like you're climbing up 2 mountains with the offense sometimes, and now you're going to start the ball start to drive on the 6-yard line. On the both of those, the problem, as much as anything, was the punts were in such a nature that I don't think it had enough hang time that they were going to necessarily be able to down it at like the 2. Like once in a while, there is reason to like fair catch at the 7 or 8 if like a defender is like right behind you and like he's going to get this ball at the 2-yard line off the bounds. But those were not the cases there. So they just need to find that player who is incredibly savvy. Not only a guy who has a gift for maybe making a play and getting 15 yards, but also in those cases, he knows exactly what he wants to do in every scenario and when to fake like he's going to fair catch it and let it go. That sort of stuff. That they need that type of guy to emerge pretty soon here. Hopefully Ethan Nation is that guy.
Let's go to the other side of the punt team, the actual punt team. What do you think has happened to Brian Buschini over, really this entire season? Last game, I mean, it noticeably hurt Nebraska, short punts and things like that. Like he was growing a reputation as a pretty dependable guy. I think there was an injury in there. These are the things that are going to matter with this margin for error being pretty slim over the final 3.
Yeah, I don't know. He said he didn't seem like he was hurt or the way he talked about it last week. And actually, prior to the Michigan State game, he kind of laid out why he was pretty happy with a lot of the stuff that he's doing this season. And, he's punted a lot against the wind, and
that's true.
That's definitely a factor. But I do think people are kind of on to something that there's just something a little off because it feels like in 3 or 4 games, he's had that at least one punt that sort of went off the side of his foot. And it's been like that 25 to 30 yard net sort of situation. And it just crushes you. It's a job in this league where the punters are so good. We always make fun of it. The Big Ten is the punting league, but there are so many good guys at it that you are going to give up like 6 to 7 yards of field position per game on exchanges if you don't have a guy who is just consistently nailing it. And so I don't know if he's trying to get a little too fine with it.
Maybe.
I don't know if there's something with that. Like, I do think that even in the NFL, you'll see that occasionally where I know the Vikings, who I follow, have had punters before where they're hitting like 39-yard punts, and apparently they think it's effective, but it feels like, man, we're never just kicking the crap out of it. I'd like to see, a 60-yard punt here and there. So I think he has it in him. I watch it in warm-ups, and he can really launch it. So I don't know what's going on, but hopefully these last 3 games he finds it, and it's sort of momentum into next year.
BC, do you have a pick?
On our pod, I was the jerk. Picked Maryland 23-20. I think Nebraska can certainly win. It's just a matter of, can they get out of that turnover problem, where it just feels like it's 3 a game. And if they do that, I think they will win. But I'm sort of skeptical about it. And I'm a little worried. Pauly is a good enough quarterback that you can play really good defense, but he can make 1 or 2 phenomenal throws. And so that your first question was a very good question, because that's the focus. But Nebraska's offense has to have the consistency and the efficiency to answer those 1 or 2 to 3 great plays that that quarterback can make, even if Nebraska's defense makes it tough on them. Can Nebraska do it? I don't know. But I do think it's going to be like all these games where with 4 minutes to go, it could go either way.
There's no doubt. BC, Bryan Christopherson, Husker 24/7. Should be a lovely day tomorrow. A little Chamber of Commerce fall morning / afternoon. Enjoy your coffee and enjoy the football.
All right, I'll show everybody my new computer over there. It's really shiny and all that. That'll be nice.
See you, BC.
See ya.
Bryan Christopherson of Husker 24/7. Getting a new computer can be hard, Josh.
Oh, there's so much to do because you want it to be a seamless transition
now
when you use it.
I think BC had a Mac, and I would assume he upgraded to just a newer version of a Mac.
Sure.
You know what happens when you have a Mac computer and you choose to live the Mac lifestyle, Josh?
You never go back?
You just put the Mac next to the other Mac, and it says, would you like this Mac to turn into this Mac? And you say, yes. And then all of a sudden, it's like you have the same computer, just newer, but faster.
That's terrifying.
It really is. That's what happens when you get new phones, too.
You
I just put it right next to it, and it's like, bloop, my phone's over there now.
Can I put it next to anyone's MacBook?
No. No.
Or like, okay.
It's specifically when it's like new and like it can tell that you're trying to transfer files over and stuff like that. Remember back in the old days, we used to have the old phones and you would have to like manually type in the old contacts. And you have to post on Facebook and you have to be like, hey, I lost everybody's contacts. Can you comment your number on Facebook?
Or message me if you don't want it public.
Yeah, no, that doesn't have to happen anymore.
I'm out for the next 12 hours because I'm inserting contacts into my device.
Yep. I'll be staring at my phone laying on my couch for the next several days.
Had to take a day off work.
Yeah, doesn't happen anymore.
Nope.
Doesn't exist.
Thank you, technical overlords.
Thank you. We'll be back. Josh will bring you the odd news next on 1620 The Zone.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. This week, Josh Allen and the Bills meet the Broncos. Buffalo needs a win following last week's loss at the Bengals. Quarterback Russell Wilson and Denver are coming off a bye and a 2-game winning streak. Ross Tucker now have all the action of the Broncos at the Bills on Monday Night Football.
If it's the NFL, it's on 1620 The Zone.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Since 1972, family-owned and locally roasted Host Coffee Service has been roasting the finest coffee for businesses and restaurants. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure for max strength daytime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. DayQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure. The daytime, non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Here's today's Husker Max Practice Report, brought to you by Tickets for Less on 1180 and 1620 The Zone.
Husker football head coach Matt Rule laid out what the defense will see from Maryland.
This week presents unique challenges in that they're going to come out and they're going to go tempo. They're going to come out and they're going to throw RPOs. They're going to come out and they're going to throw perimeter screens. They're going to come out and they're one of 3 teams in the country that's thrown 30 passes in every game in the last 2 years. It's 12 straight games with a touchdown pass. They're going to check it. They're going to throw it around. They're also going to run it. They're also going to get the ball in the perimeter. They have excellent playmakers, a great quarterback, great scheme. So for us, it's, you can't change what you do. It's about our guys just focusing in and trusting themselves and making their play. And
in terms of injuries for Nebraska, Malcolm Hartzog is expected to play. Prince-Well Uman-Mielen is still in concussion protocol. Billy Kemp might have a bigger role on the offense after spraining his MCL, and Deshaun Singleton is officially out. For The Zone, I'm Matt McMaster.
The Husker Max Practice Report, brought to you by Tickets for Less on 1180 and 1620 The Zone.
Attention all Nebraska Huskers football fans. Get ready for an electrifying season of college football with Tickets for Less. Experience the thrill of the game and witness the power of a new era under our exciting new head coach. And here's the best part. Use promo code THEZONE to score incredible savings on your Husker tickets from Tickets for Less. Whether you're cheering from the stands at Memorial or plan to catch a game on the road, Tickets for Less has the seats you need. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the Huskers journey. Visit ticketsforless.com and use promo code THEZONE today.
Giving Tuesday is the biggest local giving day of the year. On November 28th, let's celebrate what the Metro can do together in just 24 hours. Donate to your choice of local nonprofits on Giving Tuesday at shareomaha.org. During this season of giving, it's easy and fun to donate to causes you care about in just a few clicks. Support animals, children, veterans, the environment, and more. Join Share Omaha on November 28th and be a part of Hearts and Hands giving to hundreds of local nonprofits strengthening our neighborhoods. Giving Tuesday is the day to be counted among those who are doing what's needed in our community. Now's the time to give all we can. Giving Tuesday 402 is powered by Share Omaha. Give local on November 28th at shareomaha.org. Simply go to shareomaha.org to give to the nonprofits of your choice. All in one stop on Giving Tuesday and every day.
As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. Just think about that. That's $150, Nick, if your team wins.
Yeah, and if your team wins, and if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. It is as easy to use. That app, very easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much more. Visit FanDuel.com. Use the promo code ZONE. That's FanDuel.com/zone and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Here's some odd news. Oh? UNO basketball, according to our friend Gary, Gary Sharp, who's with the Mavs as they played at TCU last night and covered, I believe, right? They only lost by like 22 or something like that.
I told you they would.
They covered. And they're at North Texas tomorrow. In between, they have to have a practice. But where does a team practice if not at either of the campus locations that they are traveling to or from?
The YMCA.
The answer is Buddy Hield's house.
Of course.
That's right. The Mavs today are getting in some work at Buddy Hield's house. Buddy Hield is a member of the Indiana Pacers, but he lives somewhere in Texas. So his basketball court isn't getting used right now.
Sure.
But it is by the UNO Mavericks today. That's former Oklahoma basketball star Buddy Hield, who has lent out his court, his house. Do they get to use his bathroom and stuff like that too? Who knows? How'd they get in? I don't know.
Let him use the bathroom.
Who stays there while he's gone? I don't know.
Oh, he's probably got one of those apps where it's like, hey, I'll just punch the code and you guys tell me when you're in the driveway. And
does Crutch have a key?
Whole question.
To Buddy Hield's house. Also, it appears as if he has stolen the court from the Grand Bahama.
Yeah, Gary, nice enough
Or
to
purchased.
send me that center court logo. It's like,
nice.
what's that center court logo?
It's a basketball court from the Grand Bahama. What a story. And that's how we kick off the odd news today.
Looks a little smaller than regulation.
I'm going to go ahead and retweet that. Good work by Gary.
Yeah.
Good work.
That's journalism. That's what
really
we're looking
is.
for.
Boots on the ground.
Mm-hmm. We love boots on the ground.
What do we got today, Josh? What's popping?
Do you remember last week? It had to be last week. We updated you on Dan Orlovsky's travel schedule.
Yes.
Stephen A. Smith made fun of him for being cheap. He said, "Who's cheap now, Stephen A. Smith? I bought my wife a first-class ticket to Germany. I'm not cheap." Well, on First Take this week, Dan Orlovsky revealed that might have been a little bit of a fib.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. I booked my wife an economy ticket for X amount of dollars. But when you book with this specific airline, you can place a bid to upgrade your seat. So I placed a bid that was a very small number, nowhere near the cost of a first-class ticket. If your bid gets accepted, you get your upgrade. If not, you don't. Last Monday, the bid got accepted, so she flew in first class. A ticket normally priced for $12,000, and I bid about $300 or $400, Orlovsky explained.
So, Dan Orlovsky, once again, just to confirm, I am cheap. Just wanted to pass that along. I am indeed cheap.
Self-report.
That's good. He's one of us. He's OOU. He's he's like a richer version of OOU, right? Like he's rich but also frugal at the same time. He has the money to do these things. He can live in these worlds, but only in the cheap ways. He's like me when I go to an airport lounge. Sometimes, every once in a while, I get access to an airport lounge, and I'm like, wow, I'm rich. But it turns out I'm not at all. And I buy all the stuff. I went to the, we got our grifter on hand here, as we call him, Grifter Chris. See, we're coming back from media days. He's like, you guys want to go to the lounge for a little bit? We're like, hell yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
We went to the PGA lounge at the Minneapolis airport. They have like golf simulator bays in there.
Classic.
Did we get an alcoholic beverage at 9 a.m. because of this reason? You bet we did.
100%.
You bet we did.
I would expect nothing less. I'd be mad if you didn't.
Yep.
We move on to...
Almost bought some merch, too. Really should have done that.
Oh, yeah. Is it PGA merch or is
it's
it like
PGA
Lounge
No,
Minneapolis?
it's
airport?
like PGA.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I get it would have been just golf gear.
That's worth a lot more now because there is no PGA or it's Live or I don't know.
Live PGA.
Live forever.
Yeah.
Number one in our hearts, right? Jared Leto yesterday. Did you see this?
I did see this. I didn't want to watch it though.
I want to talk about it for several hours, but
I don't think we have time for that.
A couple minutes will suffice. The singer/actor took to the sky above New York City Thursday, telling the Today hosts he made it to the top of the Empire State Building, something that had always been a goal of his. I would like to know the other goals of one Jared Leto. He says on his way up, he stopped around the 80th floor where he saw his mom inside, which was a nice surprise. But when he got to the top of the 102-floor building, he said the views were pretty incredible, especially as the sun started to rise. Now, I think something I have failed to mention here at this point is that Jared Leto was on the outside of the Empire State Building.
Correct.
Climbing it.
He scaled the outside of the Empire State Building.
Like Spider-Man.
Yeah. I watched the videos and I was horrified.
He showed the Today Show cast his bloodied up hands after the fact. It wasn't just a big bucket list item for him to check off. He's also promoting his band. People forget he's in a band, 30 Seconds to Mars, and their world tour.
That's great. That's a good song.
Yeah, it actually is. Which kicks off in March. He's scaled buildings and insane rock formations. Remember, during it always comes up. Remember during COVID?
I remember COVID.
When Jared Leto went into a cave, did some climbing for about 2 days and came out. And in that 48 hours, the world shut down and he was very, very confused.
Yes. Jared Leto didn't know about COVID. He was like James Cameron when 9/11 happened. Same thing.
James, they got him. They got them both.
Jared Leto keeps doing weird stuff, man.
Yeah. Super weird guy.
I was honestly horrified watching the video. I mean, if that's what once again, rich guy, if that's what he wants to do with his life, then, be my guest.
So he is climbing the outside of the Empire State Building. The sun is rising. It is incredibly picturesque, suspiciously so. So I was like, okay, no, this isn't real what I'm watching.
I believed it right away.
I didn't. It took
Jared Leto's a psycho. We all know that.
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. But even then, I'm like, okay, this is the dawn of a new era now that the actors strike. Did he wait for like the actors strike to be over to do this?
Now the next thing is he goes out there with no harness and he Tom Cruises it.
Yeah.
That's the next thing.
They need to be in a movie together.
They do.
And he can take his Oscar and be like, hey, Tom, oh, you don't have one of these?
Interesting.
Thought everyone did.
Travis says, meh. Leto used a rope and harness. I'd be more impressed if he free scaled it.
Maybe that's how the Mission Impossible franchise ends.
Your reaction to Jared Leto scaling the outside of the top of the Empire State Building. Meh. He had a harness on.
No biggie.
Couldn't be me. Could not be me. No, I'm going to give credit to Jared Leto here. Nice job, Jared.
Yeah. Finally, we go back to First Take, where a lot of this news comes from, I guess.
Yep.
Stephen A. Smith, the host of First Take, has a podcast where he covers almost quite literally everything that he doesn't cover on First Take. This week, he responded to a listener who asked him, he's got a tweet bag segment. Everybody's ripping us off, Connor.
I know.
What's the worst day of the week to be, can I say this word on the radio?
Drunk?
No.
High?
No.
Horny?
Horny. Okay, I can say the word. Okay, just want to make sure.
I said it.
Yeah, you had to go first. And he had an answer because he's Stephen A. Smith. He's got a take on everything, right?
The worst day of the week to be horny.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about this. Yeah. Please continue.
Okay. Worst day of the week. I'm not going to do the voice. Worst day of the week to me to be horny is Sunday night, because chances are most people got to work Monday morning and the week hasn't started yet. And a lot of times you want to relax, wind down, and enjoy the end of the week before you get into the muck and the mire, the hustle of the week. I mean, I'm assuming you're going to do what you're going to do several times a week, but the worst day to be horny is a Sunday. The best day is a Friday and Saturday night, because Friday and Saturday she's looking to go out in most instances. And if you go out, it's been a wonderful evening, and then you want to close. Close, as in C-L-O-S-E, not C-L-O-T-H-E-S. You want to close, and that's closing. Friday and Saturday night's the best. Sunday's the worst. During the week, take it or leave it based on your mood. But in most instances, a Friday or Saturday, the expectation is that you're going to be ready to step up and handle your business. That's her expectation, whether she tells you or not. That's a little problematic, Stephen. Am I right, Solange? Amen. Amen.
Well, he's got it all figured out.
He's got takes on everything, this guy.
Oh, yeah, he's got takes on everything. We know that. There's nothing that he won't dip his toe into the water of.
I mean, there's so often things that come up in the news cycle, and I'm like, I just have no opinion on that. I don't care.
It's an art, Josh.
It is.
He's got a take on everything.
Like, I know that's not the takeaway everyone wants me to have from this story.
Yeah.
Like, no, talk about the funny things he said about being horny. That's not my takeaway. My takeaway is this guy's got a take on everything.
I will say he has made a bit in his career of being horny. I mean, we know this. He's kind of a horny guy.
Is he?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, there's examples of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He does a lot of like winks and, seductive faces on First Take. Yeah, it's very odd.
Oh my.
I'm not sure what's going on there.
Okay.
But it's definitely happened.
I'll take your word for it. I trust you.
Back to the UNO practicing at Buddy Hield's house. Greg in Hastings.
That's not Lincoln.
No, Greg in Hastings tweets into the show.
Hi, Greg.
Coach Crutchfield was an assistant at Oklahoma when Buddy Hield played there. # Greg in Hastings. # Greg knows. # we all knew that.
Yeah, we knew that.
Yeah. But thank you, Greg. You knew.
We didn't say it.
I guess we didn't, did we?
And we did ask a lot of questions.
Buddy Hield played at Oklahoma. Yeah. Chris Crutchfield was coaching at Oklahoma. That's why they're practicing at Buddy Hield's house.
This is why Trey...
We danced around that.
This is why Trey Young gives the team sneakers on occasion.
That is exactly right. So I wonder how the practice will go at Buddy Hield's house this afternoon. All right. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. Still a few more things to get into. We still haven't heard anything on the Michigan punishment.
It's coming.
It's coming. They're in the air. They've left Detroit. It's time to suspend Jim Harbaugh.
Midair.
Steve Sipple joins at the bottom of the hour. When it come on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Brent Rasmussen of Mortgage Specialists. Doesn't matter where you get your pre-approval. As a consumer, you have lots of choices when it comes to getting a mortgage pre-approval. You can go online or a mortgage professional like Mortgage Specialists. However, not every lender is the same. Online processing tools can pre-approve you in minutes, but it's more likely very inaccurate. We recommend that prospective buyers get pre-approved by a local lender. When you work with reputable local lenders, the pre-approval means what it means. You get a real evaluation of what you can borrow, and you and your real estate agent can have peace of mind through the entire process. Find out about pre-approvals and more when you subscribe to Mortgage Matters in Minutes on our YouTube channel. Just search Mortgage Specialists LLC. Click mtg-specialists.com. NMLS number 5918, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, this is Kathy Knoyer. 'Tis the season at Glasshouse Market within Knoyer Garden Center. We'd like to be a part of your family's holiday tradition. Whether you're looking for a gift for that special someone or a wreath for your front door, we'd like to invite you to come shop our stunning holiday market full of Christmas decor, novelty items, and fresh greens. Shop Glasshouse Market, located within Knoyer Garden Center on 66th Street between Cornhusker and Highway 370 in Papillion. Open daily 10 to 6.
At Knoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Do you hear what we hear? Omaha Steaks has tons of jobs and hours. Right now, we're hiring for a variety of seasonal positions in our warehouses. Make this holiday extra jolly with a great employee discount on gourmet foods you can use all year long. To view available job openings and to apply online, go to omahasteaks.com/jobs or text steaks to 22633 to apply today. 'Tis the season to make some holiday cash at Omaha Steaks.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for people who make things happen, like me. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Manifest, a product design company that makes everyday products designed smarter. I get 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, plus unlimited 2% cash back on all other purchases, which helps us make more smart ideas into a brilliant reality.
The Ink Business Premier Card. Learn more at chase.com/business premier. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Account subject to credit approval. Restrictions and limitations apply. Cards are issued by JP Morgan Chase Bank. Any member FDIC.
today.
When you wake up well-rested on a great mattress, everything becomes clear.
My life coach has a terrible life.
Things you missed when you were tired finally reveal themselves.
My passport is in the pocket of the duffel bag I took to Mexico.
It's the Black Friday sale at Mattress Firm. Get a king bed for a queen price and save up to $700 on Sealy. Plus, get a free adjustable base with select mattresses. And if you see a better price, we'll match it. The right mattress matters. We'll find yours. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
From sports medicine to spine, bone, and joint problems, Nebraska Medicine is your home for the region's most comprehensive orthopedic care. Our specialists have the unmatched expertise to diagnose and treat common and complex problems, with surgery being a last resort. With multiple locations, our leading care is miles ahead, yet close to home. For orthopedic advances, this is where you begin. Visit nebraskamed.com/ortho.
Home is with you wherever that may be.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Creighton basketball tomorrow on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg. 11 a.m. shoot-around, 1 p.m. tip against North Dakota State. Because of that, Big Red overreaction will be taking place on 1290 a.m. Coil. For you over-the-air listeners, if you are watching along with us on YouTube and various other platforms, that's all still right where it usually is, 1620thezone.com.
Might be your best bet tomorrow.
Might be. People like to watch it via the YouTube too. You watch the game, you're already streaming, right? You watch on Peacock tomorrow. So just head on over to 1620thezone.com or YouTube and just cast that over to your TV. And there's Josh Peterson and Nick Hanley talking about crab cakes and football.
Hopefully that's not what Maryland does tomorrow.
Well, I'd like them to bring some crab cakes.
Oh, sure. Be nice.
That'd be sweet. That'd be a great gift. They should do that.
Do they travel well?
Probably not. But, it's a quick turnaround. They're probably just flying in today, put them on ice for 24 hours and
feels like something you want to make with the catch of the day.
Hand them out to people at the game tomorrow. Have you ever had a great, like a fresh jumbo lump crab cake, Josh?
I have not.
Oh, baby. That's where it's at.
I have gotten an authentic lobster roll.
Oh, that's also where it's at. Yeah. Honestly, that's better.
Mm-hmm.
But one time I went to Southern Maryland. You go to this, it's right on a pier, it's in the river or whatever it is. It's basically in, the bay. They just catch that thing right out of there and they fry it up and they slap it on your plate, basically. French fries, a little tomato on top, maybe a little sauce, however you want to do it. That's good. That's what Maryland does. Well, you had your bag of popcorn already.
I'll have another, thank you.
Yeah, I think I probably will be having that too. So there's our schedule tomorrow. In case, because I know what's going to happen. People are going to start calling in during the Jays game and they're going to be like, hey, what the hell is going on here? And there's just, I'm sorry. That's just the way it goes. There's a couple games that interfere with basketball season and we're the home of the Jays. In the home of the Jays.
The poor kid working the board for the Jays game tomorrow. The phone's going to start blowing up.
Is it going to be, what did I do? Is it going to be the Joey man or the Peter man? One of those two is going to be freaking out.
They're going to communicate with each other, I'm sure.
He answers the phone. He's like, why do we keep playing this Heinrich Harburg? Where's
Jeff? It from the side.
Where's Jeff Sims? And he's going to be like, sir, it's the second half and it's 72-39. What are you mad about? I'm not talking about basketball. I'm talking about football. Jeremy wonders on the text line, did Connor just call the ocean a river?
Oh, I missed that if it happened.
It was like there's a river, there's a bay, and then there's the ocean's further away. The ocean's out there.
Oh,
it's not specifically the ocean. I don't even know. I don't know. I forget my geography what it was actually like called. Like what the bay was.
Also, quick reminder, if you are attending the Creighton game tomorrow,
what?
Do not, I repeat, do not tell the score to John Bishop.
Oh, I forgot I had to tell the score to John Bishop tomorrow.
Don't tell him the Nebraska football score tomorrow.
There's no way he's going to be able to do this.
I try to do it every week, and it just, like, you can't not be on the internet in 2023.
Somebody's going to tell you. I mean, Josh will be on the road in Hutchinson, Kansas tomorrow.
I will.
And guess what? He's going to figure it out.
I'm going to know.
You will know. Just like John Bishop will know. Because I'll have my people that are sitting behind him in section like 120 or whatever that is right there, or the other side, and they'll hold up a sign, and it'll be one of those scoreboards like from YMCA basketball that flips over with the numbers.
Yep.
And they'll say, "Hey, John, look," and it'll
17-10.
say, "Yeah," it'll say 13-6, whatever it is.
Oh, no.
It won't have any numbers bigger than 25 on there.
Sure, absolutely.
We will not be diving into that territory. At least I hope not tomorrow.
That's great because you don't have to bring a lot of numbers with you.
That is, it really is. It's the positive part of that. Okay, so we have a few things on tap for tomorrow. I want to talk about the big game tomorrow real quick. Sipple's going to join us in a few minutes, but we also have 5 other games that I want people to sort of be on the lookout for. And these are games that I am calling the bowl eligibles this weekend.
I love it.
Now, it does not exclusively include 5-4 versus 5-4. We're also including a game that has a team who has 5 wins and a team who has 4 wins. They could still potentially get to a bowl game.
4 wins? That's not 6, Connor.
4 wins isn't 6, but you could get closer to 6 with a win. And you could still, it's still 2 weeks left in the season. So there are 5 bowl eligibles this weekend in the Power 5. I didn't count the group of 5s yet, although there is one, I think it's like Arkansas State and somebody this weekend. That's a bowl eligible as well. Nebraska is participating in a bowl eligible this weekend. 5-4 versus 5-4. Somebody's got to win, and somebody's going to the Pinstripe Bowl. Who's it going to be? Find out on Peacock Saturday at 11 a.m. Also in the Big Ten, this is a bowl eligible. Watch out. Northwestern and Wisconsin. Could Northwestern, who may or may not be plus 10.5 and in my 4-quarter pick'em this week, improve to 5-5 on the year, dropping Wisconsin to 5-5 on the year, and Wisconsin still has 2 games against Nebraska and Minnesota, games in which they could lose. Could Wisconsin maybe drop 3 in a row and not go to a bowl game? And on the flip side, could Northwestern in this unbelievable season potentially make a bowl game?
I didn't think they'd win a single game this year.
They have 4 of those wins, Josh. 4 of them. And they need just 2 more to get to a bowl game. And honestly, I'm not, and I know you're typing it in their future schedule right now. Here's what they got.
Okay.
Wisconsin on the road this weekend. Purdue and Illinois.
Oh my goodness.
It's not out of the question.
Not at all.
For the Northwestern Wildcats to go to a bowl game this year. Elsewhere, we head to the SEC for a bowl eligible. Mississippi State is 4-5. They travel to lowly Texas A&M with all their talent and all their money and all their cultiness. Texas A&M is 5-4 this year. They can win and go to a bowl game. Mississippi State could get to 5-5 a year after their coach has passed away. That would be an accomplishment.
Now, if you are watching Texas A&M, they do have a game against Abilene Christian next week. So
Okay.
it appears as though
They will be headed to a bowl.
they will.
Those SEC teams still play the crap teams. That is true. We head to the ACC for a bowl eligible. Bet you didn't think this would be a bowl eligible. Georgia Tech at 5-4. Sans Jeff Sims. At Clemson. Clemson's 5-4, Josh. Clemson still has to win one more game to get to a bowl game. Can they do it this weekend against Georgia Tech?
Georgia Tech needs to win that game to stay alive in the ACC championship game standings.
That is still a thing.
They're a game out.
Yep. That game, if you're interested, will be taking place on ABC at 11 o'clock. Clemson is 2-4 in the ACC, by the way.
Broadcast television?
Broadcast television for that one.
That has CW written all over it. Why is it on ABC?
And a bowl eligible. Really, this is as good as it gets, I think. But I think Maryland and Nebraska is the funniest bowl eligible because both of those teams might not win a game the rest of the way if they don't win here. Like it's the most obvious one. We also have in the Big 12, Iowa State, who is at 5-4. They travel to their new conference rivals, BYU.
Oh, yeah.
Provo, Utah. They're both 5-4. This game will be taking place at 9:15 tomorrow night.
That is correct.
On the ESPN. This is Big 12 football on ESPN. Iowa State trying to get to a bowl. BYU trying to get to a bowl. Iowa State's 8-point favorites. And those are your bowl eligibles for the weekend.
Any one of those games also could have doubled as the Sickos game of the week.
They really could have. They really could have. Or we could have picked the Yankee Stadium game, which honestly could have done that. Pitt and Syracuse play at Yankee Stadium this weekend. But neither of those teams are going to a bowl game. I guess Syracuse still has a chance to do so. Pitt's 2-7. Syracuse is 4-5. And Pitt, by the way, is 3-point favorites in that game. So there you go.
Interesting.
And that game is at Yankee Stadium. No word on whether those schools will be wearing pinstripes this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Quick update before we get to Sipple from out west here in Omaha. You know how we often talk about cars driving into buildings, Josh?
Yeah, that happens more than it should.
Yep. So I don't know if people know, if you use 204th Street a lot, if you're a northwest side of town traveler and you're trying to get to I-80, you use 204th Street a lot, and you have to travel through the small but burgeoning town of Gretna, Nebraska.
Yep, we've all been there.
There's a Phillips 66 there that has the good chicken. You know that one?
I do, actually.
Yeah, it has good chicken, and it's a Phillips 66. A car has driven into the front of the Phillips 66 on 204th.
Is the chicken okay?
I don't know, but he did had it. I mean, didn't look like he got far.
Okay.
But the sliding doors in front are plowed wide open by this white Camaro that drive right through the middle of this Phillips 66 with the crispy crunch chicken at 204th and Glenmore Drive in Gretna this morning.
Hope everyone's okay.
Thank you to the Sarpy County Scanner for putting that one out there for us.
I do have a quick update on the uniforms for Yankee Stadium tomorrow.
No pinstripes?
Syracuse has not released their kit or their fit. Pitt has no pinstripes. They will be wearing yellow, white, blue.
Sad
uniform combo for the Panthers.
Come on, you got to do something special.
Yeah.
When Nebraska inevitably goes to the Pinstripe Bowl, I need them to wear pinstripes. Just do it.
I don't, but I know that they will.
Do it. No, I mean, they won't. But because Nebraska has an iconic uniform and an iconic helmet.
They will be asked to do so, though.
A couple emails here. This one from Douglas.
Hello, Douglas.
What kind of world do we live in where one of the most storied football programs in college history is at home and they're an underdog to Maryland? The state the size of a postage stamp and the goofy-ass outline border as well. Maryland looks like a bottom water-dwelling insect. I think he's talking about the state of Maryland. I like this. We should do this. And we should have thought of this way early in the season. Trash Talk Friday.
Oh, yeah.
You just call in and you say the most dumb things you can about the state that you're playing against or the university you're playing against.
A bottom-dwelling insect? Is that what?
That's what it looks like. That's what the state of Maryland looks like, according to Douglas.
Poll question up at Happer show, does the state of Maryland look like a bottom-dwelling insect?
That's what Douglas is saying, not me. John emails in. How awesome would it be if the Creighton game was far enough out of hand that John just started taking calls to 1620 during the game? Big Red overreaction. Who's this? Basketballs are bouncing in the background. Be pretty funny. Zach emails in. Really want A&M to spiral out of control this season, so their boosters force a coaching change. So A&M will money whip Dion, so we'll leave Colorado after only one season. That would be what would happen too. That would be funny.
I'm sure that buttoned-up military institution would love Coach Bryan.
They're not conservative at all down there, are they?
No, they're a cult.
Okay.
Connor.
Oh no! Is it here?
It is here, Connor. It is official.
The Michigan punishment?
Travis Kelce has landed in Argentina.
Oh, God.
Ahead of Taylor Swift.
I thought you were going to tell us that Jim Harbaugh was gone.
This is bigger, Connor. My internet is frozen.
He went to Argentina?
Yes, I'd love to tell you what Travis Kelce's doing on the Chiefs bye week this weekend.
He's in Argentina.
He's in Argentina supporting real girlfriend Taylor Swift.
They're still trending to be together at Christmas, Josh. You're going to be wrong about that one. You're going to have to pay up.
I would love to share the details of this story, but again, the internet has failed me.
That's okay.
It's just the internet. What do we need that for?
Also have a text from a source from 204th Street.
Oh.
I hit a skunk last night on the 204th freeway on my way home from Lincoln.
Good update.
Just thought I'd pass that along. Everybody's using their sources today. Figured I had one that was close enough to it. I hate that street, by the way, with all my heart. It's the worst street. Why does it have so many lights? Build an interstate.
Because it used to have 11 people living there.
Yeah,
now it doesn't.
Now we don't. It's 2023.
You got that big ass high V, but none of the infrastructure to support it.
Yeah, build a road. Build a road where people don't have to stop every 10 seconds, or there's dump trucks constantly driving down the road. The dump trucks, and the lanes are closed. Things like this. Build a real road.
Your job shouldn't hinder my progress.
I'm not even talking to Gretna. I'm talking about the whole state of Nebraska on that 204th Street, because it covers multiple towns. You know, it goes all the way from like Northwest Omaha all the way down to the interstate and even further than that. Build me a road where I can consistently go 75 miles an hour.
Oh.
That's all I need.
Would love that.
All right. That was supposed to be just the bowl eligible segment, but we got into some other things.
I mean, news breaks. You got to cover it when it breaks, Connor.
Brian says on the 204th Street, Phillips 66, the chicken should be okay. That's off to the left of the building. Yes, that's what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't make it that far in. The Crispy Crunch chicken should be just fine. I'm sure Sipple knows about this gas station, honestly. We'll ask him. And we'll see what else Sipple's up to on a lovely Friday afternoon when we come back on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
I think one takeaway from this that we can all deduce, this guy is not with CMU. If this would have been one of their people, he would have said that. That's actually Bob. Bob just happens to look like the sign stealer.
They would have said that in the statement yesterday put out by the athletic director. So it's obvious they're not sure exactly who he is.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from Knoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny with a few clouds here for your Friday afternoon. Cooler today with a high in Omaha 51 degrees. Light southeasterly winds up to 10 miles an hour. Clouds increase late tonight, partly to mostly cloudy skies, becoming breezy overnight as well. A bit chilly with a low in Omaha of 35. Southeasterly winds up to 15 miles an hour. Not as cool for your Saturday, mostly cloudy, seasonal with a high of 56 and breezy. Southerly gusts possible up to 25 miles an hour. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Make the right call. John Higgins, let it go. The home of the Rooferys.
When
When it's time to replace or repair storm damage, make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the local, trusted, and proven choice. No one has installed more DaVinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader. Community member, community supporter. Make the right call.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the rooferys. Make the right call.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
Many people go back to the dealership out of habit or because they think the dealer is the only one who knows how to fix their car. At Omaha Car Care, we offer a better option. We have ASE certified technicians, the technology to service any vehicle, and free loaner cars. The dealer will sell you a package of services. We'll provide the service you want for your car as your trusted partner. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
And now, try Babbel free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Listen to the Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jays Shoot Around and Overtime shows, the Creighton men's basketball pregame and postgame shows on 1620 The Zone. The Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jays Shoot Around and Overtime shows are also presented by Union Bank and Trust. Hear the breakdown and coverage about your top-ranked Creighton men's basketball team before and after each game, exclusively on your home for the Creighton Blue Jays. 1620 The Zone, the 1620 The Zone mobile app, and 1620thezone.com.
42 Degrees, with locations in Omaha, Council Bluffs, and Lincoln, has become a year-round corporate sponsor of the Omaha Veterans Food Pantry. What began as a 5-day food drive 2 years ago has turned into a 365-day commitment by 42 Degrees to support the overwhelming needs of veterans in our community. 42 Degrees customers have contributed thousands of dollars in food and hygiene donations, and 42 Degrees gave the Omaha Veterans Food Pantry a $2,500 check last November. 42 Degrees has food bins ready year-round to receive canned, dry food, and hygiene donations for the Omaha Veterans Food Pantry. During the year, 42 Degrees will have special sales with the proceeds going to the Omaha Veterans Food Pantry. The Omaha Veterans Food Pantry serves veterans who are low income, near homeless, or homeless who are not living in a shelter. 42 Degrees is proud to support the Omaha Veterans Food Pantry, and thanks to their customers in the community for their continued support and patronage.
Steve Sipple,
Hey! The conversation gets even more uncomfortable, okay?
Omaha! Steve Sipple on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
See there. All right, so we called Sipple and he didn't answer. Who knows?
Maybe he's in line getting some of that chicken.
Maybe he's getting some coffee. Maybe he was the person who crashed his car in the Phillips 66 at Gretna.
Entirely possible.
Matt writes in. Matt is a Gretna guy. He knows this. Knowing Sarpy County planners, they're going to try and put a stoplight in the Gretna Phillips 66 parking lot.
Is it designed so that I stop in Gretna and look around and go, ooh, maybe I want to go there and spend money in Gretna? Like, is that the master plan of it all?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm just spitballing ideas.
I think like you said before, it's just a small town that is now very, it's outgrown. By the way, I know many people are talking about this today, and we just probably spent like a half hour watching this on the Pat McAfee show. But have you seen the video of Aaron Rodgers from a couple nights from last night?
From last
night?
No,
it's not from last night. It's from the last Jets game, whenever this was.
Monday night?
Yeah, Monday night.
Yeah, and he said a couple weeks.
No. Not that video. Not the video of him throwing. The video of him shaking this guy's hand. I will retweet it right now.
Okay, please do.
So it's normal. He's shaking a guy, probably one of the part owners or something like that of the Jets. Gives him daps, gives him the bro hug, walks off, and he's about to leave. And before he leaves, he grabs a pretty good sized black box.
Okay.
He attempts to pick up the black box, and before he's moving before he gets it off the ground, and the contents of the black box distribute everywhere onto the ground.
It's a beaker.
And what is in the black box is really quite curious, and this is the center of attention today in the sports world. It looks like a fancy bottle of alcohol of some sort.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's what it looks like. But it could be a secret potion.
How'd the top of the bottle I guess it could have broke.
When people talk about potions, Josh, that's what potion looks like. It's in a potion bottle, a beaker, like you said. So
a lot of horse tranquilizer jokes in here. Those are pretty funny.
It is retweeted at Connor Happer. What's in Aaron Rodgers' box?
Phrasing. Many are asking, hey, Aaron Rodgers does everything with purpose. There's no.
I believe that.
This is absolutely a bit of some kind.
Yeah. Is it a giant bong of some sort?
No.
I don't know. Is it a bottle of tequila?
No.
Aaron Rodgers believes in the power of healing.
I believe we have the answer.
Okay.
Many have said in the comments, and I Googled the bottle, and it does check. A bottle of, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, I'm not cool enough.
Añejo?
Maestro Dobel 50 Cristaliano Extra Añejo Tequila.
It's tequila. Yeah, I figured. That was always going to be the less exciting answer to the story.
Also, the bottle retails for about $140.
Yeah.
So
it's not like the greatest tequila in the world, but it does come in a black box
that apparently just opens at random when you least expect it, and the tequila jumps out.
Yep. So he was on McAfee's show just now, and I'm sure they grilled him about that. But that's what's going on in the rest of the sports world. In case you were too busy living in your own bubble of Nebraska football and Creighton basketball and
bubble.
Nebraska basketball. By the way, I got a tweet this morning. We got it just quickly on the flask. Husker Country Doc writes in.
What's up, Doc?
It's an Erlenmeyer flask used in chemistry labs. It's not tequila. Okay, so Husker Country Doc, I've seen Breaking Bad too. Okay, all right. I know what an Erlenmeyer flask is.
That's what I meant.
But it's
when
very
I said
possible
it's a beaker
that they put tequila in the flask for show. Like this is how they make tequila now. It's not the quality of the tequila that's better. It's the fact that it's put in a cool jar. That's what makes the tequila more expensive nowadays. So I think that's what's happening. Aaron says, I sell that tequila. You could get Blanco for around $40. Why don't you just do that?
Aaron, why are we not drinking tequila right now?
I mean, we don't have to drink tequila all the time, Josh.
We could.
Do you want to drink tequila all the time?
Not all the time. I mean, I have several tequilas at my house, and all this talk about tequila has made me want a tequila.
Are you aging some tequila?
No, I have bottles of tequila at my house.
What do you mean bottles of tequila? Multiple bottles of tequila?
Yes. You have to have a Blanco,
Reposado.
and an Añejo on hand at all times.
No, you don't.
How do you stock your bar, Connor?
I don't have a bar. I just drink what I drink.
That's on you.
It is on me.
When the mood hits and you want some, you're not going to have any.
I don't have a full bar at my disposal.
You're going to have to call Aaron in the middle of the night and be like, Aaron, I need the stuff.
I can
you got the
go
stuff.
to the store. The store's open. I don't have to have all of the kinds of alcohols. What else do you have? Like liqueur?
Before they delivered that stuff to your house at will, you had to have it on hand.
Crazy, man.
Have many whiskeys and bourbons and scotches. And
got a tweet this morning from a Jays fan, I believe, who said the following. Let me go ahead and find this real quick. Keep in mind, this was at 8:51 this morning. What time does this show go from, Josh?
Generally 10 until 2.
10 to 2. At Connor Happer, why are you talking about Nebraska basketball? Nobody cares. You have a national championship contender in the city you're in, and we are wasting time talking about how great Nebraska is since they beat Florida A&M. Love the wish casting you guys do. I responded to that tweet with, I'm in my kitchen, sir, not talking about Nebraska basketball. Maybe he was trying to tweet at Nick. Maybe Nick was talking about Nebraska basketball. But
sense.
I will have you know that we lauded Creighton for looking amazing against Florida A&M. Right?
Yeah, really bad.
So we got it. I mean, Nebraska took care of business last night. They looked pretty good against Florida A&M. Sue me.
It's a bad tweet because it heralded at the wrong person. It is also a doubly bad tweet because, hey, don't talk about their win over A&M. Talk about our win over A&M and preview North Dakota State, the bullies of the Midwest.
Yeah, dude, watch out. Watch out. I thought Nebraska, they looked good last night. I think they're going to be a pretty good basketball team. I do not think they're going to beat Creighton. For a variety of different reasons.
You probably thought that last year as well.
I did. I did think that last year. Yep, that's true. I was wrong about it last year. Usually I'm right. Reek Mast had 20-16 last night for the GBR boys.
How does Mask look?
Pretty good.
Okay.
Pretty good. 20-16. That's a good number. There was talk of Alex Marich last night, which is always a really, exciting time for Nebraska fans. Whenever you could talk about Alex Marich, it's a good thing. And that's my take on Nebraska basketball. 2-0. Lindenwood, Florida A&M, gone. Riders up next.
Oh. That's a Monday game, right?
I'm telling you, they might both be undefeated by the time they play each other on December 3rd.
Whoa.
It's gonna get interesting.
How huge would that be?
I think it'd be pretty big, Josh. We do. I mean, I do want to talk about Penn State, Michigan.
Yeah.
But do you have a top 5? Are we ready to deploy a top 5 today? Are we going to do that? Or
stay ready? You don't have to get ready. I'm ready.
Just like your tequilas.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So you're going to tell me, or are we going to hold it?
Oh, yeah. Top 5 Christopher Walken comedies. Because Connor hasn't seen The Deer Hunter. And if you haven't seen The Deer Hunter, I don't know how to explain it to you.
No, it's just Deer Hunter, right?
It is actually a movie not about deer hunting at all. It's about the horrors of Vietnam.
No,
Russian roulette.
I haven't seen Deer Hunter.
No.
Christopher Walken comedies.
Comedies.
So, like, specifically his roles in the comedies or the movies?
I would say his roles in the comedies.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's how I read it.
Christopher Walken's best comedic roles.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The top 5 only went away for 2 days before it makes its return.
Connor begged for it to come back.
I did. Keys and Peas still in the 1 o'clock hour. And we'll come back with Josh's top 5 next on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em returns. It's your chance to win $1,620. All you have to do is correctly pick 4 college or NFL games against the spread. Listen to Qualify every weekday or enter online at 1620thezone.com. One lucky listener will be selected each week to make their picks live on air.
Awesome.
Go to 1620thezone.com for complete rules and contest details. It's 4-quarter pick'em with 1620 The Zone.
Home is where your health is, where your family gathers together, takes care of each other. And right there with you is Nebraska Medicine. We're proud to take care of Nebraska, to deliver everything your family needs. From immediate care to neurosurgery, it's expertise you can be confident in. With locations throughout the region and telehealth appointments from the comfort of home. Find a provider close to you at nebraskamed.com.
Home is with you wherever that may be.
Creighton Sports Update.
Creighton men's basketball welcomes the North Dakota State Bison tomorrow afternoon for Military Appreciation Day at 1 p.m. A limited number of single-game tickets are still available for purchase. Visit gocreighton.com/buy to secure your seats. We look forward to seeing you at CHI Health Center Omaha tomorrow. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Does eating at home have you singing the blues? Stop by Cobb's at the Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, or 72nd and Jones to grab a delicious pizza, burgers, fresh salad, and some tasty charred wings. They even offer keto crusts and an extensive variety of shareable appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Cobb's, now with 3 convenient locations to serve you. Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and 72nd and Jones. Click cobbspizza.com to see the menu, pizza, and so much more.
Okay, next time you're at the store, I dare you to not think about the unmistakable fresh, clean scent of Irish Spring. Yeah, you heard me. I want you to resist picturing a shower filled with those sensational Irish Spring suds. And if you succeed, well, you got what my gramps used to call resolutitude. Not a real word, but let's be honest, you're probably going to end up leaving with Irish Spring because of its irresistible scent and because you have zero resolutitude. Pick up Irish Spring at Walmart today.
It's obvious the unthinkable is happening. With all the recent media distractions, most folks never saw it coming. But a few did. Their guts told them something very wrong was going on. And now the headlines are proving them right. The people in charge keep telling you that everything's fine and to stop noticing. But you know better. Folks are investing in emergency food storage, and you should too. My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, are the ones you can trust. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one for each family member. My Patriot Supply also sells biomass stoves, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, gravity-powered water filters, heirloom seeds, and survival gear that may come in handy soon. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today. It's time to prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
Attention sales professionals. NRG Media is looking for an accomplished business-to-business salesperson who wants to take their success and skills to a new level. Is this you? Our account executives work with local businesses to create marketing plans to help them get more customers. On air, digital, on-site, audio, video, it's all part of what you can sell. A sales career with NRG lets you make a real difference. Get more info and apply online at nrgmedia.com. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Life doesn't stop when cancer starts. After a diagnosis, treatment is vital. But for some, just getting there, to appointments, chemo, or radiation, is a major challenge. You can change that. Volunteer to give rides with the American Cancer Society Road to Recovery program. A few hours of your day could make a life-saving difference for someone with cancer. Visit cancer.org/drive to learn more. That's cancer.org/drive.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Joe writes in. We got a write-in suggestion already. The J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed.
Yeah, give me those write-ins.
While not a comedy movie, the most comedic role for Christopher Walken was from Saturday Night Live, Need More Cowbell.
Interesting. Interesting take by
Did
you.
play a small role in the scene.
A pivotal role.
Don't fear the Reaper. All right, Josh. I've perused Christopher Walken's IMDb page, and I'm already counting on 3 Christopher Walken comedic roles and being in here. So I can't wait to see how the other 2 come to fruition.
I'm going to have faith in you, Connor. I believe
that I've seen all of them.
You have seen all 5.
Well,
of
they're
these.
comedies, eh?
Yeah.
Come on, they're comedies. Do it again. I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
I mean, come on, Mitch. Come on. Come on.
God, come on. Take forever.
Number 5.
It's not a comedy, but he's funny in it. Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
The Watch. It is ass.
Yeah, I mean that movie's not a comedy, but it is funny.
Right,
like that movie is probably more funny than it is anything else, honestly. Just the situations that each of the characters find themselves in.
Yeah, it's not really an action movie.
The humor that they make out of death and a lot of times very grim deaths.
A shot Marvin in the face.
We're talking about, the Royale with cheese. Guy blows his head off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say this is a good inclusion.
Okay.
On the list, Josh.
Had to include it.
Captain Coons.
Zed's dead, baby.
Zed's dead, baby.
Number 4.
I got another that would fit in that role, I think.
Oh?
Comedic, but a comedic role, a funny role, but not necessarily a comedic movie.
Okay.
Wonder if it'll end up on here.
Well, I don't think it will, because we're straight up comedies from here on
Okay.
out.
Okay, I'll give it to you then.
Yeah.
Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, yeah.
Frank Abagnale, not Abagnale. Abagnale. What's the speech he gives about the rat? A rat. He fell into a bucket of cream. That's what a rat fell into a bucket of cream. He spun his way out. The other rats drowned to death. He spun his way out so hard that he created butter. And this is butter. Yeah. That's funny.
It is.
That's funny.
Number 4 is Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirte?
Mm-hmm.
It's classic.
Yeah. Many were clamoring for it in the YouTube comments.
Yeah, it
during the
has
break.
to. I mean, it has to be on here.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, honestly, it's number 3. Clem was a great character. Obviously the classic line, which I've mentioned several times already. You're talking to my man all wrong. You do it again, I stab you in the face with a soldering iron. He at this point has completely understood how people feel about Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
And this is the illustration of that feeling.
He doesn't always lean into the bit that is his own persona, but when he does, it's great.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
It is a beautiful thing.
3. Combination of 3 and 5.
Number 3.
People forget about this one. Really funny movie. Wayne's World 2.
I haven't seen Wayne's World 2.
I knew that was the one that that was iffy on.
So Kangaroo Jack's not on here?
No, I hate to disappoint you. But
What the hell?
Kangaroo Jack
Kangaroo
is not.
Jack is an incredible movie.
Agree to disagree.
Salvatore Maggio. He's like the mob boss, of course, in the movie.
Oh, hey, do that thing where you recap a 20-year-old movie for us.
Okay. I don't even think that I'd be able to do Kangaroo Jack. It's been so long since I've seen it. I would miss out on some key parts.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, you don't want to shortchange everybody.
I don't want to shortchange everybody. I'll tell you what, I'll watch it at some point, and then when I do, I'll bring it to you.
Turned 20 years old in January, Connor. So it meets the criteria for you to do a recap.
We should do it. We by the way, let me just read the synopsis on the Google.
Please.
2 friends from Brooklyn, Anthony Anderson, of course, and Jerry O'Connell,
of course,
are forced to deliver mob money to Australia. Their misadventures begin when one of them places his red jacket on a kangaroo, Jackie Legs, while attempting to snap a picture. When the kangaroo bounces off, they realize the mob money is in the jacket and are forced to give chase throughout the outback.
That is Kangaroo Jack in a nutshell.
That is Kangaroo Jack in a nutshell. Also, the kangaroo like eats a red hot jawbreaker at one point. That's what I remember.
Classic.
Yep.
Okay, top 5 Christopher Walken comedies number 2.
We're off to number 2.
Here comes 2.
Number 2.
Large family breeding. Wedding Crashers.
So good.
So good. Which is the origin point on this top 5
this
list.
is why we're doing it.
Crab cakes and football. That's what Maryland does. Nebraska plays Maryland tomorrow. Wedding Crashers is where that movie comes from.
Secretary Cleary was always, he was always aware of the things that were going on in his house. Certainly not unaware of any, love triangle between Sack and Claire, of course.
Clabbat.
And then you had the other son, Todd, of course, who it seemed as if Todd maybe wanted a little bit more from his father, who was Christopher Walken in the movie. Son, why don't you come out and play some contact sports? Would that make you love me, Dad? This is great. This is great. I love this movie, and I love Christopher Walken in it. I'm glad he is. I don't want to see anybody else in that role. Now, wasn't there a Wedding Crashers? Did they try to make a sequel to that movie?
I think
or
they
something like
did,
that.
And then the world kind of changed, and they were like,
okay,
maybe we don't do this.
Well, there is a Joe Dirt too.
There is.
That I
Christopher Walken reprised his role.
He did
in that. Haven't seen that one.
I don't think I ever saw it. Yeah. Sad. Okay, that brings us to number 1, Josh.
Once Sack and Claire tie the knot, 2 of the great American families, the Clearys and the Lodges, will finally unite.
But it sounds like he's saying large, but his name is Sack Lodge. He's doing the signs, the signals at the line of scrimmage when he's blitzing.
Make it so, number 1.
Hot route.
Number 1.
Bradley Cooper should have won an Oscar for that.
He should have several Oscars.
Bradley Cooper should have won an Oscar for that role, for Sack Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
He was so convincing. I hated him so much. And this is really the first time we ever knew Bradley Cooper, any of us. That came out in 2005.
And now here it is, 20 years later. Still no Oscars. He's 0 for 9. In what many would call a criminal lack of Oscars for Bradley Cooper. Connor, I really wish you hadn't have read that tweet before the top 5 was revealed, because
just forget I said it.
I was gonna go number 2, Wedding Crashers, and everyone was gonna go, oh my gosh, what is he doing? Why isn't Wedding Crashers the funniest way?
I apologize.
Christopher Walken. I gotta have more cowbell.
That's what you did. You didn't share your list with me before we started the segment.
I didn't. I wanted it to be a surprise.
Who's really to blame? It's really yourself, Josh.
I guess so. You're right.
Yeah, iconic line.
Last time I checked, guys, we don't have a lot of songs that feature the cowbell.
Not in a movie. Not in a movie, but a iconic Saturday Night Live sketch, which was really probably known more for Will Ferrell, but he delivers the line.
If Bruce Dickinson says we need more cowbell, I say
gotta have more cowbell.
I'm the cock of the walk.
And I love Christopher Walken. How old is Christopher Walken by now?
Any guesses? Would you like to guess?
78.
I'm gonna go 82.
Okay. Tell me.
He is 80.
Split it. Split the difference.
The cowbell sketch, April 8th, 2000.
2000. What a year.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell's in the prime of SNL at that time. That's a good time.
He's yielding the most power, showing that weird fold in his gut.
Yeah.
Every week.
Every single time. Just yelling, obscenely yelling all of the time. All right. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
I appreciate you reprising your role as the top 5 guy.
I'm ready when called upon.
All right.
Also, top 5 turtles on my Twitter feed at @producer_Josh.
We won't do it too often, but I felt like, I was in the mood for it today. And we had a built-in subject because we talked a lot about Christopher Walken. All right. 1 o'clock hour. Our keys to the game coming up next. Which game? The game on Peacock tomorrow between Nebraska and Maryland. Like Josh said, you can go to @producer_Josh for top 5 turtles if that's your preview of the game of choice, or you could listen to our keys to the game, whichever one you'd like. Next. Or both on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Follow your path in the Mazda CX-30 at Woodhouse Mazda. This crossover comes with an available Skyactiv G 2.5 turbo engine delivering up to 250 horsepower. Paired with the standard iActive all-wheel drive, the Mazda CX-30 offers dynamic performance that make every journey worth savoring. Shop Woodhouse Mazda during the Season of Inspiration event, starting MSRP $26,669. 2 convenient locations in Bellevue and West Omaha. Woodhouse Mazda, a drive worth experiencing.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
So, Isabella, you're in high school earning college credits?
Tuition-free college credits.
Tuition-free? Your mom's gotta...
Love that.
Hey, Maya, hold up. You'll graduate from high school.
But my college gen ed's knocked out. Tuition-free.
That's gotta save you and your parents thousands in college tuition. How about you, Ian?
I'll be debt-free thanks to MCC.
Earn college credits while still in high school. Tuition-free. Get started at mccneb.edu/tuition-free. Classes start December 2nd.
This is me at MCC.
Get a full breakdown after every Nebraska game with Big Red Overreaction. And this week only, hear Big Red Overreaction with Nick Hanley and yours truly, Josh Peterson, on News Talk 1290 Coil. Big Red Overreaction is presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Also brought to you by J. Stinnett Contracting, Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and Rotella's Italian Bakery. Immediately after the game, Big Red Overreaction, this week only on News Talk 1290 Coil.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Life doesn't stop when cancer starts. After a diagnosis, treatment is vital. But for some, just getting there, to appointments, chemo, or radiation, is a major challenge. You can change that. Volunteer to give rides with the American Cancer Society Road to Recovery program. A few hours of your day could make a life-saving difference for someone with cancer. Visit cancer.org/drive to learn more. That's cancer.org/drive.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text ALL to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text ALL to 42424. That's ALL to 42424. Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
All right, Friday, 1 o'clock. Nebraska plays a football game in less than 24 hours. It's against the Maryland Terrapins. Grab cakes and football. That's what Maryland does. Also, Tulia Tungavailoa, pretty good wide receivers usually as well. All of that will be coming on the show to Lincoln tomorrow. First, before we get to our keys to the game, ESPN just cut in with a shot of Jim Harbaugh walking onto the team bus as they're departing for Happy Valley here in just a few short minutes. They're an hour behind, by the way, where everyone thought they were going to be. What's up with that?
Oh, these teams never leave on time.
Jim Harbaugh did get onto that bus. Will he be removed from the bus or removed from the plane?
I would dare a Big Ten official to drag him off that bus. He ain't going.
I would really, the timing of this is super interesting. Like, what are they going to do if they suspend him for this week? Or even if they don't suspend him for this week and he gets a suspension for the remainder of the season today, like he coaches today, he coaches tomorrow, and then it's all very complicated and very awkward, certainly. We did get an email, by the way, a couple minutes ago from Mark.
Hi, Mark.
A thought. If they suspend Jim Harbaugh, they should also suspend the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator. They, too, had to know what was going on, and each benefited greatly. Apparently, neither stood up to the cheating and said no, and neither resigned.
Interesting take.
Look, they're going to try, and Michigan, in their response to whatever the penalties are here, are going to say, look, there's not enough sufficient evidence for you to say that everybody knew about this, but everybody knew about this. Like, that is certainly the case. I don't think there's that great of a defense for it. Obviously, when you take it to court, you have to prove it, and that's the problem for the people trying to prove it in this scenario. That's what Michigan has working in their advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no doubt that everyone in that program knew exactly what was going on and benefited from it greatly. There's no doubt. It's just, can you prove it? That's it.
I'm curious if Jim Harbaugh does get suspended, if Jim will be as cute with this suspension as he was with the last one and have his dad work the sidelines.
Oh, you mean for the Penn State and Ohio State games?
Yeah. Bet you he doesn't.
Yeah, it's almost like they played nobody in the first 4 weeks of the season.
First 10 weeks of the season.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sorry.
Michigan finish it. Who do they have in between?
Great question.
They have Maryland next week? Yeah, Maryland next week.
Oh, yeah. Look ahead to next week, Maryland.
And we get a chance to beat Michigan. They do host Michigan. Wow, Maryland gets to host Penn State and Michigan this year. And then that Ohio State game coming up on November the 25th. By the way, just briefly on that game, it's a huge game for Penn State. They are in a really, really bad trend here where they get into these games and they don't look like they have enough. This may have been the year where you could have got Ohio State. They're not quite as explosive as they have been in the years past. You could have got them. You had them on the road this year. You missed an opportunity. Michigan is on their heels from whatever this is right now. The sign stealing deal. They might have their minds focused on some other things. You got them at home. It's a chance to get them. Do I believe in Penn State and their likelihood to win this game? I do not. I do not. We'll pick it here coming up here in just a few minutes, but I'll tell you right now, I'm definitely picking Michigan for that game.
Yeah.
I'm picking Michigan. Like, Penn State has to prove and people thought going into this year, okay, maybe Drew Aller is the guy.
They finally got a quarterback.
They finally got a quarterback, right? Drew Aller simply, we made fun of James Franklin and the whole, media scribe dust up a couple weeks ago when they asked him, hey, do you ever think about just throwing it up? They don't even they're going to have to take the top off this defense somehow. They're going to have to allow their quarterback to make plays. And they have gotten away, for the most part, except for the loss to Ohio State this year, without doing it so far. In order to beat Michigan and kind of split this Big Ten East thing up and create some major chaos at the top of the college football playoff deal and the Big Ten East, you're going to have to really take some shots. Take your shots tomorrow, Penn State. That would be my advice. I don't want to see another, we go down to the final couple minutes and Penn State doesn't have enough and they fall short. I want to see them at least shoot their shot in this game. I'm kind of rooting for them. Like, who wouldn't want to see Michigan lose tomorrow? But
right,
man, I just like Josh said, I've seen this story a lot of times.
And I don't see it going any differently.
Yeah.
You can say, oh, Michigan will be distracted. They won't be. They're laser focused, and plus they know what Penn State's calling.
Or do they anymore? All right, keys to the game: Nebraska, Maryland. Get logged in your Peacock, please. Don't wait till 10:58 tomorrow morning.
Is that key one?
Yes,
or a bonus.
No, that's key number one.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. It's not. It wasn't on the. Just a disclaimer. Key number one is practice what you preach. Everyone knows that Matt Rule is a son of a preacher man.
It's true.
And what does he talk about all the time? He talks about running the football, wearing people down, and getting it to the fourth quarter, running for 75 yards in the fourth quarter, and a defensive shutout in the fourth quarter. He talks about it all the time. And yet I see Nebraska coming out in the second and third quarter, trying to throw it around the yard a bit, trying to get some different things going. And they don't run it for 75 yards in the fourth quarter. And they don't do some of these things they set out to do. This is the perfect game to do it. This is truly a game where you can stick to the run, hang in on defense, don't turn the football over as much. Get it to the fourth quarter and start leaning on them. This team is tired. The other team.
The Terps.
They don't win games in November, as previously discussed. They are 7-28 in the month of November since 2014. They've won 20% of their games in the month of November since 2014. They're tired. They're beat up. They just played Penn State. They got clobbered by Penn State last week. Lean on them in the second half of this game. It's going to be close at halftime. If you're up by 3, if you're down by 3, that's great. That's all within the realm of possibility. Get this game to the second half and lean on them in the fourth quarter. That's how Nebraska wins.
First half of the season, Maryland is a team of sacks. And then somewhere in the middle of the season, they turn into a team of Todds.
I wonder.
Sad boys.
Nice. I wonder why. It's almost like the schedule got a little bit tougher. It got out of control for them against Penn State last week. They lost 4 games in a row. They haven't won a football game since September 30th. I think you could break this team's will a little bit. The same thing went for last week against Michigan State. Nebraska had the opportunity to do so, and they did not take it.
They didn't get.
They were down 20-10 in that football game. They did not do that. I think you could do that this week, but you got to stick to the plan, and you got to be, you got to be on track.
First quarter feels key.
Practice what you preach. Number 1. Number 2. This sounds like a movie that Josh would like.
Ooh.
Josh, would you go to a movie that came out next Thursday called Selective Heat?
Oh, yeah.
I bet you would. You get a giant thing of popcorn and some Twizzlers and a giant Diet Coke and say, I'm here for Selective Heat.
Selective Heat.
One ticket for Selective Heat, please.
Sounds like a sexy cop thriller that we don't make anymore, like Basic Instinct.
About the more conservative game plan defensively last week against Michigan State. I think there's parts of that would actually be your best course of action here. You might have to kind of sit back a little bit against this team. I think they're gonna move the ball. The weather will not play into the factor into the game this week. I think Nebraska really pinned their ears back against Purdue because they realized, all right, they're not going to be able to run the ball on us. They're going to try and take shots deep, and when they do that, they're going to have to throw it into a 50-mile-an-hour wind. It's not gonna, maybe it'll swirl a little bit tomorrow as it does at Memorial Stadium, but you may have to be a little bit more conservative than you want to. You still got to be on your P's and Q's, but maybe a little bit more conservative than people want them to be. I think you got to keep them in front a little bit. I'm not sure I love Nebraska's back end outside of Newsome against their wide receivers. Like I said, I think the world of Caden Prather. I think he's a really good player. And I think they have a far better quarterback. Generally, find the right spots to take some chances, heat Tulia Tungavailoa up, and keep him on his heels a little bit. I just don't want a quarterback like that to get into a rhythm. Like we said earlier, when you're playing against these kind of spready up-tempo teams, when the ball gets rolling against you and they're moving, it's really hard to stand back up. It's really, really difficult. Conversely, if you're getting them going in the wrong direction and you're not letting them convert third downs and they can't get into a rhythm because they've only run 12 plays by the middle of the second quarter, that really works in your favor, right? And by that point, hopefully you got like a 10-0 lead or something like that. It can happen fast, but against this team, it's selective heat. It's where do you dial up some heat? Where do you dial up some pressure? And when are you going to leave your defensive backfield out there and trust them? Newsome versus Prather is going to be fun, I think. Those are two guys that you can, draft tomorrow and feel good about.
How many Big Mac sacks you looking for?
How many do they need, or how many will they have?
How many do they need?
That'd be nice to get 3 or 4, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I was in the same area.
Some negative plays in there.
Mm-hmm. A lot of TFLs.
Selective heat. Key number 3. Driving down the road. It's the middle of the summer. And you know what you want to do? You want to take the top down. Top down, Josh.
Yeah.
I think Maryland, as most teams will, and there's a reason why. It's because we all watch the games and we say, hey, look, if we stop them from running the ball, I think we might be okay. Their quarterback's not very consistent. They're going to crowd Nebraska. Maryland's going to crowd Nebraska. And you know what they do too? They blitz. They blitz quite a bit. And Nebraska has to hit. So we talk about the sort of formula in a football game for Nebraska. What can we count on them for? You could probably count on them for one drive where it's going to be, 10 plus plays, 75 yards. You get that into the end zone. You're going to have one of those. What Nebraska didn't do last week that they had done the previous 3 weeks before that is they hit the shot. The Jalen Lloyd play in the Purdue game, the Malachi Coleman play in the Northwestern game, right? You've had deep shots over the top. Nebraska took a couple against Michigan State last weekend, and they did not hit them. And really, if you want to boil the game down to that and some bad calls, then be my guest. I would go right along with you on that. They just didn't hit the big plays last week. They have to hit 1 or 2 of those and score off of them. It's probably not going to come from belly G option pass anymore. I think that play might be done, Josh. I don't think belly G option works anymore.
Flip that one to the back of the book.
Right? So it's just going to have to be Heinrich maybe getting outside the pocket, and when things are breaking down, here comes Malachi Coleman, and he's raising his hand as he's streaking down the sideline. That might be what it has to be tomorrow. But Heinrich Harburg cannot take sacks. He has to use that athleticism to make plays outside of the pocket, and when things break down, maybe that's where Nebraska can find a big one on Saturday. It doesn't have to be drawn up. Like, it doesn't, you don't have to do it specifically in the way you thought you were going to do it. Just make sure you do it. Make a quick decision and hit it. And I will say this, going back to the Michigan State game last week, I was really intrigued with Harburg specifically when you get into a more spread out 2-minute situation where you have to score. Like, he made some really nice throws. Obviously, it's not consistent enough because he made some bad ones. But I didn't feel like Nebraska, weirdly, I know, the drive ended the way it did last week. Weirdly, I felt okay about Heinrich on that drive. I wasn't sitting there like, here comes the pick, or here comes the, stupid thing. And the stupid thing obviously came, but it wasn't Heinrich's fault. Because they got a first down to Malachi and they didn't stop the clock, and then the fumble that wasn't a fumble. I like Heinrich Haarberg in those situations. So if it gets to that point and Nebraska's 6th win is hanging on a late 3-minute drive where Heinrich needs to get 60 yards or 40 yards or whatever it is to get into field goal range, then I like him there. I kind of like him there. So, because I think he's not thinking when they do that. And that's clearly the key with Heinrich.
He admitted it.
Like he's all the way in his own head. He's got so much on his plate. There's so much on him right now that when you're just going out and you're balling, then Rule talked about it a couple of weeks ago. The first step for a quarterback is you just go out and you play. The second one is like, you get a little bogged down by the information. The third one, you finally get comfortable with it. He can't get out of that second one. So I don't mind him in situations where you kind of have to spread out and hit Malachi on a quick read up the seam, or hit Thomas Fedoni on a quick one out. Like, I like him there. So if it gets into that situation, don't write the big horse off. That's what I would say. But you got to take the top off a couple times. It's a weak secondary. Take advantage of it once or twice. Those are our keys to the game. Do I think Nebraska is going to win tomorrow? We'll find out when we'll make our picks coming up next. First from Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Selective Heat is definitely a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm there. I watched Lionheart earlier this week. I'm in on the filmography of JCVD. That's what the cool kids call him, Connor. I was thinking David Caruso in a movie similar in style to Jade. Anyone remember Jade from 1995? No, probably not. Okay.
No, not at all. We have a tweet from Biff Poggi.
Sleeveless Wonder.
The head coach of Charlotte, also one of Jim Harbaugh's top assistants over the last several years. He says, I have been quiet on the Michigan situation, but no longer. Oh. I was closer to Jim Harbaugh over the last 3 years than anyone except his wife and kids. If Jim knew, I would have known. I didn't know, and neither did he. I stake my reputation on it. Stop whining and get a better team, says Biff Poggi. Thank you, Biff. We all needed that in times like these. Well, sounds like Michigan's cleared. He didn't know.
That settles this one.
Can't wait till they find out in like 6 minutes that he knew. It'll be great. Picks of the weekend coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
Previously on The Crossover.
And we rolled him over on the side. He hit one of those ruts, turned 45 degrees sideways, hit the retaining wall, and eventually started going end over end. And so every time the top of the barrel, the exposed end, you'd see his arms flaying with it. And we stood there at the top of the hill. We were looking at each other going, do we go down and save him or do we run?
Mornings with Sharp and Hanley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny with a few clouds here for your Friday afternoon. Cooler today with the high in Omaha 51 degrees. Light southeasterly winds up to 10 miles an hour. Clouds increase late tonight, partly to mostly cloudy skies, becoming breezy overnight as well. A bit chilly with a low in Omaha of 35. Southeasterly winds up to 15 miles an hour. Not as cool for your Saturday, mostly cloudy, seasonal with a high of 56 and breezy. Southerly gusts possible up to 25 miles an hour. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Football season is here. You'll be going to games and you want to see all of the action on the football field. Kugler Vision can help you ditch the glasses or ditch the contacts for good. Visit them online at KuglerVision.com.
Every Friday, we bring you discounts to some of your favorite businesses in the metro. The thing is, once a week just isn't enough. Get ready for OmahaWeekendDeals.com. Every weekend, you can find big deals, 50% off or more, to even more of your favorite metro businesses. Like this weekend's deal to Qdoba Catering in Omaha. Get 2 gift certificates of $50 value for just $25. Head to OmahaWeekendDeals.com to get yours. That's OmahaWeekendDeals.com.
Get a full breakdown after every Nebraska game with Big Red Overreaction. And this week only, hear Big Red Overreaction with Nick Hanley and yours truly, Josh Peterson, on News Talk 1290 Coil. Big Red Overreaction is presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Also brought to you by J. Stinnett Contracting, Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and Rotella's Italian Bakery. Immediately after the game, Big Red Overreaction, this week only on News Talk 1290 Coil.
42 Degrees, with locations in Omaha, Council Bluffs, and Lincoln, has become a year-round corporate sponsor of the Omaha Veterans Food Pantry. What began as a 5-day food drive 2 years ago has turned into a 365-day commitment by 42 Degrees to support the overwhelming needs of veterans in our community. 42 Degrees customers have contributed thousands of dollars in food and hygiene donations, and 42 Degrees gave the Omaha Veterans Food Pantry a $2,500 check last November. 42 Degrees has food bins ready year-round to receive canned, dry food, and hygiene donations for the Omaha Veterans Food Pantry. During the year, 42 Degrees will have special sales with the proceeds going to the Omaha Veterans Food Pantry. The Omaha Veterans Food Pantry serves veterans who are low income, near homeless, or homeless who are not living in a shelter. 42 Degrees is proud to support the Omaha Veterans Food Pantry, and thanks to their customers in the community for their continued support and patronage.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure for max strength daytime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. DayQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure. The daytime, non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Andrew writes in on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed.
Hi, Andrew.
Selective Heat sounds like one of those softcore shows John Bishop used to watch on Cinemax back in the day.
Yeah, it's definitely a Skinemax title.
I think it should be the next Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, personally, but
the busty broads have to bust out of prison on
Selective Heat. Picks of the weekend, Josh.
What are the standings? How'd I do?
Oh, great question. Let's find out. Picks. Josh, last week, you and I had the exact same pick for every game.
Oh, okay.
Did you know that?
I didn't.
So we both went 4-3.
Okay. A little defense on my part, I guess.
Bringing my record to an even 33-33-1, a number that I am not ashamed of.
If you're winning 50% of your bets, that's the goal, right?
Bringing Josh's record to 43-23-1.
20 games above 500.
Still is 10 games clear of yours truly with just a few weeks left. But as I always say, you never know. You never know. Things change quickly.
I think about those standings when I make my picks. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much like pressure's on me, right?
If you want to look at that way, you could.
I do.
Yeah. Keep the pressure on yourself, Josh. I'm fine with that.
Bigley on YouTube.
Hey, Bigley.
Important correction.
Bigley.
You have to win 51% to make it matter. It's true.
That is true. I theoretically, I would have made $0 so far if every bet was even.
But you're still having fun, right?
I'm having a great time. We begin with our game of the weekend in college football. It is number 3 Michigan, who has Biff Poggi on their side, The Wolverines are 4.5-point favorites according to the FanDuel Sportsbook. They're at number 10 Penn State. Big noon Fox, 11 a.m. tomorrow. Gus Johnson, Joe Klatt, and the All-American girl, Jenny Taft, on the call. I like Michigan by a sizable amount here. I like Michigan by 10 or more.
Yes,
Josh said like 7 touchdowns earlier for some reason.
I definitely plan on buying that number up tomorrow as I venture through the nothingness that is the state of Kansas.
Go ahead, Penn State. Shock us all.
Yeah.
I'd love it if you did.
Would love to be wrong about this, but there is 0% chance.
0. Okay. We're clipping that.
Please
0% chance of what, Josh?
That Penn State wins.
0% chance that Penn State wins. Got it.
Give me Michigan if I wasn't clear enough about
We
that.
both like Michigan, -4.5. Number 18, Utah, is at number 5, Washington, who is an 8.5-point favorite tomorrow, 2:30 on Fox. This game will follow our big noon kickoff. So I was famously very correct about Oregon versus Utah.
You were, yes.
I don't think Washington is, well, I know Washington beat Oregon.
Uh-huh.
I think Oregon is better than Washington. I know that it's blasphemous. We're going to do the head-to-head thing. We're going to have the whole conversation with Texas and Alabama, and we're going to do the same thing with Oregon and Washington. I think Oregon is better. But still, I don't think Utah has enough gas for this one. I'm going to go with the Huskies at home to cover the 8.5, even though I do not love the number, and I don't think I would bet this on with my own dollars.
Great take, Connor. I am a frequent Washington Husky bettor because it worked so well in the early part of the season, but I've been burned quite a bit lately. I still think they're 10 points better than Utah. Give me the Huskies.
But you hate it.
I hate the number.
Perfect. Little in-state rivalry here. Miami is at number 4, Florida State, who is a 13.5-point favorite. This is a 2:30 slate on good 2:30 slate tomorrow, by the way, on ABC. Josh, your pick.
Tyler Van Dyke is at the seeing ghosts stage of his quarterbacking career. Miami much improved, but I still think Florida State can pick their number here on Saturday. Give me the Seminoles -14.
You know what? I think rivalry game, and that's a lot of points. 13.5 scares me. I kind of wish I got another half in there. But I will take Miami here.
Okay.
On the road to cover the number. Florida State they're due for a little slippage.
They have not slipped all the way up, but they have had some games where it's like, really, that was a dogfight for you? Boston College was a dogfight?
I believe Keon Coleman is going to play this weekend. He was out last weekend. Let's see. Let's go to chopchat.com because that's their website.
That's the source. That's the source right there.
He didn't play last week, but let's see. I do expect us being in a better spot, is what Mike Norvell has said. So maybe Keon Coleman is going. That is one of the best wide receivers in college football, by the way. And that makes a difference, certainly, if he's back. But I'm going to take Miami here. I'm going to take Miami plus the 13.5. Let's do it. Why not? Let's party. Number 13, Tennessee is a 2.5-point favorite at number 14, Missouri. Also 2:30 CBS. How about Missouri in these big games back-to-back weeks?
Yeah.
Missouri's at home, Josh.
Yeah, they are.
They're getting 2.5 points.
Home dog.
Give me the Tigers. Go Tigers. The Missouri version.
Now, in the spirit of the game, I could play defense and just pick Mizzou. I'm sticking to my paper.
Good.
Tennessee -2. I don't love it.
2.5.
Ooh, that's moved, huh?
Yes.
2.5, fine. Give me the Volunteers. I think both teams are fool's gold, but someone has to win.
Yeah, somebody's got to win. Number 9, Ole Miss is at number 2, Georgia. This, according to some, is your game of the week, not me. Georgia is a 10.5-point favorite, 6 o'clock ESPN. Kirk Herbstreit will not have to get on a PJ this week on Saturday, only on Thursday to Saturday. Georgia is 10.5-point favorite. Josh, your pick.
Lane Kiffin is the Penn State of the South. I've seen this movie before.
Nice.
And Lane's got to prove it. I know he beat LSU this year. LSU plays no defense. Georgia does. I feel like the Dogs at home might want to make a statement.
They're not. Ole Miss is not built in a way that where they can make up for that sort of talent gap. They have a good quarterback. Jackson Dart's good.
Great name.
Good wide receivers. I'm with you, Josh. I'm just going to keep riding Georgia until further notice.
Yeah.
Give me the Bulldogs.
You don't bet against the Dogs.
Our Sickos game of the week. Josh accused me of taking the low-hanging fruit, and I can't argue with him. Rutgers is at number 22, Iowa, who is a 1.5-point favorite.
That line moved too.
Yes, it did. With a total, oh boy, we are not live on the FanDuel Sportsbook right now.
It is the lowest line pregame in college football history.
We are sitting at 28.5.
I believe that is correct, yes.
Pretty great stuff. Pretty classic stuff. Yes, 28.5. Opened at Iowa minus 5.5, all the way down to Iowa minus 1, and now up to 1.5. Give me the Hawkeyes with confidence, Josh, with confidence that they will win by the final score of 13-10.
Agree.
Maybe 12-7.
Ooh, bold. One of those Twitter accounts where it's like, hey, we'll stat the game for you and tell you who's going to win, said the 2 biggest mismatches of the week in games that are like close in terms of like money line. Iowa's offense versus Rutgers defense is one of the biggest mismatches, and Iowa's defense versus Rutgers offense. Those are the 2 biggest mismatches of the weekend, so I'm confidently taking Iowa here as well.
They're both tilted in the direction of the defenses.
Yes.
Iowa's are going to be our Sickos champion this year. And we finish in Lincoln, Nebraska at Memorial Stadium, where Maryland is a 2.5-point favorite on the road at storied and vaunted Nebraska. That N on the helmet means nothing anymore. The patterns on Maryland's jerseys are not afraid of the N on Nebraska's helmet. 11 a.m. on the Peacock. Josh, do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I don't care. I can go first.
All right, go for it.
It's all on the line. Tomorrow's the day. You've waited. The state has waited long enough. Nebraska 20, Maryland 16. Win number 6. Nebraska.
We're going
outright.
We're going to the bowl game. That's great. Josh, I've been concerned. I've been concerned about this game, but as the week has gone along, I've thought, you know what? I think they got answers to this stuff. So long as they don't really shoot their own foot off too much on offense, I think Nebraska is going to be okay. I think they have answers to the offense that Nebraska is going to see against Maryland, and I think they're able to keep that number down just enough. By the slimmest of margins, Josh, Nebraska wins 21-20 on Saturday afternoon. So celebrate. Pop bottles. 1290 Coil will be your bowl game celebration headquarters.
As God intended.
As God intended. Nebraska wins it against Maryland. All right, we'll come back. Poll questions, tell you what to watch on the other side on 1620 The Zone. We wish the weather was going to be a little bit colder. I know Matt Rule wishes the weather was going to be a little bit colder on Saturday. The NFL offers, guess what? They stay hot on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Take Nebraska on the money line. You'll get plus money on that. They're 2.5-point dogs. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. We are right in the heart of football season with plenty of NFL coming as well. There's also spreads and player props and overs and unders. I love the anytime touchdown scores, even though my Chuba Hubbard one didn't come through last night because the Panthers didn't score an offensive touchdown. No big deal. We're not sad about it at all. But it's all available for you on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Place that moneyline bet. Go to FanDuel.com/Happer. Kick off the NFL season with FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 and over, present in Iowa. First online real money wager. Only $5 pregame moneyline wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Ryan Radke here from Sunday Night Football on Westwood One. Coming up Sunday in prime time, the Raiders host the New York Jets. Zach Wilson and the Jets will look to avoid a second straight primetime loss after falling to the Chargers on Monday night. They'll meet a Raiders team looking for a second straight win under new head coach Antonio Pierce. Join Mike Golick and me for all the action from Las Vegas on Sunday Night Football.
If it's the NFL, it's on 1620 The Zone. Here's today's Husker Max Practice Report, brought to you by Tickets for Less on 1180 and 1620 The Zone.
Husker football head coach Matt Rule laid out what the defense will see from Maryland.
This week presents unique challenges in that they're going to come out and they're going to go tempo. They're going to come out and they're going to throw RPOs. They're going to come out and they're going to throw perimeter screens. They're going to come out and they're one of 3 teams in the country that's thrown 30 passes in every game in the last 2 years. 12 straight games with a touchdown pass. They're going to chuck it. They're going to throw it around. They're also going to run it. They're also going to get the ball on the perimeter. They have excellent playmakers, a great quarterback, great scheme. So for us, it's, you can't change what you do. It's about our guys just focusing in and trusting themselves and making their play. And
in terms of injuries for Nebraska, Malcolm Hartzog is expected to play. Princewell Umanmielen is still in concussion protocol. Billy Kemp might have a bigger role on the offense after spraining his MCL, and Deshaun Singleton is officially out. For The Zone, I'm Matt McMaster.
The Husker Max Practice Report, brought to you by Tickets for Less on 1180 and 1620 The Zone.
Attention all Nebraska Huskers football fans. Get ready for an electrifying season of college football with Tickets for Less. Experience the thrill of the game and witness the power of a new era under our exciting new head coach. And here's the best part. Use promo code THEZONE to score incredible savings on your Husker tickets from Tickets for Less. Whether you're cheering from the stands at Memorial or plan to catch a game on the road, Tickets for Less has the seats you need. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the Huskers journey. Visit ticketsforless.com and use promo code THEZONE today.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
Full questions at Happer Show on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. We started off with this banger. For everyone who plays rec league basketball and chucks up 25 shots a game, is Caitlin Clark your inspiration?
She's a chucker. She's very good.
Yes.
She's a chucker.
Yeah. I thought that was a good poll question. 53% are saying no.
Most voted on poll question of the day.
It's not their inspiration. Does the state of Maryland look like a bottom-dwelling insect?
You're onto something. Yeah.
I didn't say that. Somebody else said that.
Sure.
I don't think that is what it looks like. 77% say yes. Is your bar well stocked? Apparently mine is not.
Yeah,
Josh is. 52% say no. And finally, would you go to see a movie called Selective Heat?
Night 1, opening night, I'm there.
It sounds like it wouldn't be a good movie for me, honestly. I'll say no.
Not a comedy.
67% at the moment are saying no. Those are the poll questions. Josh, what are we watching tonight?
There's a lot to watch this weekend. Here's your NFL slate here locally. A rare single game noon window for us here. Saints Vikings at noon on Big Fox, and then doubleheader in the 3:00 window. I guess not a doubleheader, but whatever that's called. Giants Cowboys 3:00 on Big Fox. You're not subjected to that though. You can watch Lions Chargers at 3:00 on CBS.
That'll at the very least be entertaining.
And then your Sunday night game is unfortunately Jets Raiders in Vegas. College football tonight, North Texas against SMU at 8:00 on ESPN2. 9:45 kickoff tonight on FS1 between Wyoming and UNLV. Come on, sickos. Where you at? That's Josh
for you.
time. That's Josh time. Iowa State and BYU, 9:15 tomorrow on ESPN. And, of course, 1:00 tomorrow on GoReavers.com.
Yes.
You can watch number 1 versus number 2.
Yes.
Battle of the Unbeatens. Rematch of the national championship game from last year. Hutchinson versus Iowa Western.
It's a big one.
It's a dandy. College basketball tonight, ESPN2 at 6:00. Number 12, Arizona at number 2, Duke. Hey, that's a good game, guys. Come on.
Yeah, that's a basketball game.
There are 4 Big Ten basketball games on Peacock tonight. You can have a dress rehearsal for Peacock. You can see how it works. Ohio State, Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin each play on Peacock tonight. Ohio State and Wisconsin play top 15 teams tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Wisconsin plays Tennessee. I know that.
Yeah, Ohio State plays Texas A&M.
There you go.
Is a ranked team, apparently. I did not know that. I'm sorry.
Buzz Williams.
Oh, yeah.
That's my guy.
Buzz.
Remember when he was hammered at the College World Series?
People forget.
And we interviewed him during the home run?
That's right.
I mean,
I do remember that now.
He wasn't hammered.
He was in a little.
He was having a good time.
North Dakota State takes on number 8 Creighton at 1:00 tomorrow on FS2 for the moving pictures. The radio call right here on 1620, of course. The Omaha Mavericks at North Texas, 7:00 tomorrow night on ESPN Plus. You can hear Gary's call on 1180. NBA in-season tournament tonight, Connor. It's back.
Good.
Pool play in the East C bracket between the Nets and the Celtics at 6:30 on ESPN, followed by Lakers Suns at 9:00. That is, of course, the West A bracket.
I know.
Goes without saying.
Yeah.
Volleyball Sunday, 2:00 on Nebraska Public Media, number 1 Nebraska at Illinois. They try and keep it going. Wrestling. We love college wrestling here on the Connor Happer Show. Big Ten Plus tonight, number 9 Nebraska against Receiving Votes, the Campbell Camels.
Wow.
Women's soccer tonight, ESPN Plus. 7:00, the opening round of the NCAA tournament. Number 15 Nebraska hosts South Dakota State. And then I'll give you a movie as we get out of here. The Killer on Netflix. An assassin, played by Michael Fassbender, battles his employers on an international hunt that he insists isn't personal.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That's what we're watching tonight. That is the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Once again, Big Red Overreaction after the game tomorrow on 1290 Coil. Not on 1620 The Zone for your terrestrial radio listeners, but still findable at 1620thezone.com with Nick and Josh.
Nobody tell John the score of the game tomorrow.
I'm going to break that rule. I will be telling John the score of the game tomorrow.
He's going to get so many tweets.
He's going to be so angry, too. Crossovers next.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio.